Master Kaio Fen's voice carried across the classroom while the morning sun poured through the high windows of Silver Moon Institute. A person's soul palace decides the limit of that person's life. She stood before a black crystal board engraved with 7 colored circles. Indigo shone at the top, gray sat at the bottom. Those born with indigo or azure soul palaces may become great spirit masters. Green and yellow still possess respectable potential. Orange and red can serve as fighters if they work hard. Her pointer descended to the final circle. As for gray, it is the color of failure. A gray soul palace absorbs spiritual energy slowly, forms weak walls, and rarely supports a spirit contract. A family that spends valuable medicine on such a child is not showing kindness. It is wasting resources. Several students turned toward the back of the room. A 13-year-old boy sat beside the window. His name was Kai Ren. His soul palace was gray, fragmented, and almost empty. The last academy test had measured only 5 points of soul force. 100 points were required to enter the 1-star iron rank. To everyone in the classroom, Kai Ren was exactly the sort of student Master Kaio Fen was describing. But Kai Ren did not hear the quiet laughter. He was staring at his hands. They were small. The scars across his palms were gone. The finger he had lost at Blackwater Pass had returned. The poison that had spread from his wrist into his heart was nowhere to be seen. Only moments earlier, a black sword had pierced his chest beneath a blood-red sky. Radiant City had already become a frozen ruin behind him. The western gate had been opened from inside. The defensive formation had collapsed. Millions of spirit beasts had crossed the walls while masked killers hunted the surviving defenders. Kai Ren had learned the truth decades too late. The Scarlet Crown clan, one of Radiant City's most respected families, had worked with the Night Serpent Guild. They had sold patrol routes and formation weaknesses because they wanted an ancient inheritance buried beneath the city. They did not understand what they were opening. Kai Ren had been 13 when the conspiracy began. He had been 16 when Radiant City fell. His parents died beneath the southern wall. His younger sister vanished during the evacuation. Dunwei held a bridge until spirit beasts tore him apart. Bo Chen burned his own soul palace to clear a path through a beast horde. Lin Yue froze herself inside a tunnel to stop the creatures pursuing the refugees. Su Lion died in Kai Ren's arms after using the last of her strength to protect him. Kai Ren survived. For the next 40 years, he wandered across destroyed kingdoms, forbidden ruins, and distant realms. He studied alchemy, inscription arrays, spirit evolution, ancient languages, and every cultivation method he could find. He eventually became one of the strongest spirit sovereigns alive. It still was not enough. The master of the Night Serpent Guild ambushed him inside the ruins of the Heavenly Court. The black sword entered Kai Ren's heart. The bronze wheel hanging around his neck shattered when his blood touched it. Then he opened his eyes in this classroom. Kai Ren slowly looked around. Dunwei sat 2 seats away, forcing himself to stay awake after helping his family work through the night. Bo Chen was hiding a steamed bun beneath his book. Lin Yue sat near the front with her long dark hair tied behind her. She was still proud and distant, and faint frost had already begun accumulating inside the meridians of her right hand. Across the room sat Su Lion, alive. She wore Silver Moon Institute's white and blue uniform. There was no blood on her sleeve, no scar crossed her cheek. Her eyes still held the calm curiosity Kai Ren remembered from before the city's destruction. Kai Ren stared at her. Su Lion noticed. Her brows tightened and she turned away. Kai Ren's chest ached. This was real. He had returned to the year he turned 13. 3 years remained before Radiant City's destruction. His family was alive. His friends were alive. The people responsible for the future he remembered still wore noble robes and smiled beneath banners of honor. A quiet laugh escaped him. Master Kaio Fen stopped speaking. Kai Ren. The room became silent. Is there something amusing about my lesson? Kai Ren raised his head. In his first life, he had feared this woman. He had believed every cruel judgment she made about him. After surviving 40 years of war, he could barely remember why. Yes, he answered. Bo Chen nearly choked on his bun. Master Kaio Fen's expression tightened. What did you say? I said your lesson is amusing. Several noble students laughed, certain Kai Ren had finally lost his mind. Master Kaio Fen placed her teaching rod on the desk. Explain yourself. Kai Ren leaned back in his chair. You said soul palace color decides a cultivator's future. That is false. That principle is accepted by every academy in the northern provinces. It is repeated by instructors who find color easier to understand than structure. The classroom erupted. Master Kaio Fen struck the desk with her palm. Silence. She looked at Kai Ren with open contempt. You possess 5 points of soul force and the weakest soul palace in this institute. What gives you the right to challenge knowledge passed down for centuries? Kai Ren glanced at the 7 colored circles. Soul Palace color affects how quickly a beginner absorbs unrefined energy. It does not decide the number of internal chambers, the density of the palace walls, elemental compatibility, or whether the palace can evolve under the correct method. Master Kai Fen laughed coldly. Then perhaps you should teach the class. That would be safer for them. The room became quiet again. Master Kai Fen's face reddened. What danger have I created? Kai Ren pointed toward the breathing root written beneath the diagram. The 5th circulation is wrong. That method was developed by an ancestor of the Scarlet Crown clan. No, it was copied from an incomplete page of the Celestial Flame Codex. Yan Zhen rose from his seat near the front. He was the young heir of the Scarlet Crown clan. His academy uniform was lined with dark red thread and a golden lion emblem hung from his belt. Watch your mouth. Kai Ren ignored him. The original method contains 54 energy turns. The version taught here contains 36. 8 were copied incorrectly. The 5th turn forces fire energy through a meridian aligned with cold essence. Students may advance quickly for several months, but the repeated conflict narrows the channel. Their later breakthroughs become slower, and every attempt carries a greater risk of internal burning. Master Kai Fen sneered. You expect us to believe a Grey Palace failure understands the Scarlet Crown clan's inheritance better than its elders. Kai Ren stood and walked toward the board. Before she could stop him, he took the teaching brush from her hand. He erased part of the inscription and began drawing. His movements were quick and exact. Simple curves became layered runes. Broken lines were restored. The incomplete flame seal transformed into a complex golden pattern that spread across half the board. Kai Ren placed the brush down. The Institute archive contains an untranslated copy of the Celestial Flame Codex in the sealed history room. The original pattern is on the 7th sheet of its 2nd volume. Master Kai Fen folded her arms. And how would someone like you enter a sealed room? I did not. Then you're lying. A calm voice came from the hallway. Bring the record. An elderly man stood outside the classroom. Vice Headmaster Song Yun had stopped after hearing the argument. Master Kai Fen immediately softened her tone. Vice Headmaster, this student is disrupting the lesson. I heard enough. Song Yun entered and examined the inscription. His gaze sharpened. Where did you learn this? From an old record left by my grandfather. It was a lie. Kai Ren had learned the completed seal 30 years later from an inscription master in the Burning Sky Kingdom. An assistant brought 2 dusty volumes from the sealed archive. Song Yun opened the 2nd and unfolded its 7th sheet. Faded symbols covered the brittle paper. He compared them with Kai Ren's inscription. They match perfectly. Can you read the old imperial script? Song Yun asked, a little. Kai Ren placed 2 fingers against the seal. Soul force entered the pattern. Golden fire rose from the board and formed the shape of a 6-horned beast above the classroom. The creature opened its mouth in a silent roar. Heat passed over the students without burning a single desk. Song Yun stared upward. A complete celestial flame manifestation. Kai Ren removed his hand. The golden creature vanished. The Institute version produces less than half the original power while consuming almost twice as much soul force. Yan Zhen clenched his fists. You are insulting my clan. Kai Ren looked at him. I am correcting your clan. Master Kai Fen stepped forward. One memorized inscription changes nothing. In 2 months, you will still be the weakest student here. Kai Ren smiled. Then let us make a bet. What bet? In 2 months, I will enter the 1-star iron rank and pass the annual examination. Students laughed. Kai Ren needed 95 additional points of soul force. Reaching that level in 2 months appeared impossible. Master Kai Fen crossed her arms. And when you fail, I will leave Silvermoon Institute. Duanwei stood. Kai Ren, stop. Bo Chen quickly swallowed the food in his mouth. Apologize before this becomes worse. Kai Ren kept his eyes on Master Kai Fen. But if I succeed, you resign from teaching our class. The laughter ended. Master Kai Fen studied him for several seconds. Then she smiled. Very well, the entire class will serve as witness. You should prepare your resignation early. Her smile disappeared. For the next 2 months, you will stand at the back during every lesson. Kai Ren picked up his books and walked to the rear wall. Duanwei hesitated, then gathered his things and joined him. Master Kai Fen's eyes narrowed. You may stand with him if you enjoy punishment. Bo Chen sighed, collected his books, and walked over as well. "This is a terrible decision," he whispered, "but standing alone would make you look too pitiful." 3 students from poor families followed them. Kai Ren looked at the boys beside him. In his first life, every one of them had died defending Radiant City. He had been given another chance. This time, he would not allow them to remain weak. When the lesson ended, Yan Zhen passed Kai Ren near the door. A gray palace rat should know when to lower his head. Kai Ren stopped. In the future, Yan Zhen would help open Radiant City's western gate. Thousands would die because of him. Kai Ren looked directly into his eyes. "Enjoy the next 3 years." Yan Zhen frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means they will be the last peaceful years of your life." Yan Zhen wanted to respond, but Su Lion approached from behind him. She carried a copy of the repaired flame seal. "You knew where the archive record was," she said. "I guessed. You also knew how to read a language Vice Headmaster Song struggles to translate." "I was fortunate." Su Lion studied him. "You are a poor liar." She walked away before Kai Ren could answer. Bo Chen leaned close. "Su Lion spoke to you." "Yes. The city governor's granddaughter spoke to you." "I heard her." "Do you understand how many students would surrender a hand for that?" Kai Ren watched Su Lion disappear into the corridor. "I know what people are willing to surrender for her." His voice carried enough sadness that Bo Chen stopped joking. After school, Kai Ren brought Duanwei, Bo Chen, and the 3 commoner students to an abandoned courtyard behind the institute storehouse. Bo Chen looked around. "This place looks perfect for murder." "That is why nobody trains here," Kai Ren answered. That did not improve the explanation. Kai Ren asked each student to circulate soul force. He examined their breathing, channels, soul palace forms, and elemental compatibility. Duanwei had been classified as possessing an ordinary yellow soul palace. The academy was wrong. He possessed an earth heart palace with a hidden lower chamber. The method given to him forced energy upward, fighting his natural flow. Kai Ren pressed 3 points along Duanwei's back. "Draw energy through your feet. Gather it below the navel. Do not force it into your chest." Duanwei obeyed. Yellow light deepened around his body. Dust rose from the courtyard floor. A thin crack appeared beneath his heel. Kai Ren handed him a copied manual. Earth Dragon Breathing Art. Duanwei stared at the first page. "This is more complete than my family's entire inheritance." "Yes. Why give it to me?" Kai Ren remembered Duanwei standing alone on a bridge while spirit beasts climbed over the bodies around him. "Because you stood beside me." Bo Chen immediately stepped forward. "What about me?" "You possess 2 connected palace chambers. One carries wind, the other flame. Your current technique separates them so violently that both remain weak." Kai Ren gave him the twin gale flame scripture. This rotates the 2 energies in opposite directions. When they meet, the wind strengthens the fire instead of smothering it. Bo Chen looked at the dense writing. "I cannot understand half of this." "You will." The remaining students received methods suited to metal, water, and wood. Kai Ren spent the evening correcting their posture, breathing, and circulation. Within an hour, Duanwei gained 5 points of soul force. Bo Chen gained 4. The commoner students experienced similar changes. Their disbelief slowly became determination. When the sun set, Kai Ren remained alone in the courtyard. He turned his attention inward. His damaged gray soul palace floated within darkness. That was what the academy crystal had measured. Hidden within its cracks were 9 empty chambers arranged around a central void. The 9-fold soul palace art had been considered a forbidden cultivation method in his previous life. It allowed one cultivator to form separate chambers for multiple bound spirits. Most spirit masters could contract only 1 beast. A rare genius might hold 2. The 9-fold art could hold 9, but every chamber increased the burden on the soul. One mistake could shatter the palace permanently. Kai Ren had discovered the method late in his first life. His foundation had already solidified, so he opened only 4 chambers. Now he had returned before his soul palace matured. All 9 were possible. He began circulating the first stage. Ordinary soul energy entered his body, passed through the cracks, and divided into 9 streams. His progress would appear slower than everyone else's because every point strengthened all 9 chambers. Once stabilized, however, each point would become denser than the soul force of an ordinary cultivator. Kai Ren opened his eyes. Someone was watching. He turned toward a stone pillar outside the courtyard. Lin Yue stepped from behind it. "You gave Duanwei a cultivation method," she said. "You were watching for almost an hour." I was passing by. You remained behind the same pillar. Lin Yue looked away. Kai Ren noticed the stiffness in her right hand. The frost inside her meridians was already worse than he remembered. What do you want? He asked. Lin Yue lifted her sleeve. Thin white lines spread across her wrist like ice beneath glass. You said Master Kaio Fen's method damages cold meridians. Can you identify this? Kai Ren's expression changed. Who taught you the frost lightning art? My clan. They're killing you. Lin Yue's eyes hardened. Be careful. The method forces lightning through 12 meridians aligned with cold essence. Your body protects itself by lowering its own temperature. First comes pain after training. Then numbness in the fingers. Within 2 years, the frost reaches your heart. Lin Yue went pale. No one knew about the numbness, not even her father. Can it be cured? Yes. She stared at him. Kai Ren sat on a flat stone. Give me your hand. Lin Yue hesitated. If you are lying, I will break your fingers. That would make treatment difficult. She placed her hand in his. Kai Ren pressed several points along her wrist and forearm. Cold energy surged outward. Ice covered his fingers. Lin Yue gasped as pain traveled toward her shoulder. Do not resist. Kai Ren guided the trapped energy into a safer path. White mist escaped from her palm. The frost beneath her skin faded slightly. She looked at him in disbelief. 3 physicians examined me. They treated what they could see. Kai Ren released her hand. You need 12 treatments. Stop using the frost lightning art. My clan will not allow that. Kai Ren handed her a folded manual. Use this instead. Lin Yue opened it. Violet Thunder Phoenix Art. The first stage repairs your channels. The second awakens the lightning blood hidden inside your soul palace. She read several lines. This is a high-level technique. Yes. What do you want in return? Nothing. No one gives away something like this for nothing. Kai Ren looked toward the Institute Lake. In his first life, Lin Yue had frozen herself solid to save refugees who barely knew her name. You already paid. When? Perhaps in another life. Footsteps approached before she could question him. Yan Zhen walked into the courtyard with 2 Scarlet Crown students. His gaze moved from Kai Ren to Lin Yue's uncovered wrist. What are you doing? Lin Yue pulled down her sleeve. That is none of your concern. Their clans had arranged an engagement years earlier. Lin Yue had never accepted it, but Yan Zhen treated the agreement as ownership. He stepped closer. You should remember your position. Lin Yue's eyes turned cold. My position is not beside you. Yan Zhen looked at Kai Ren. You have become bold. Kai Ren remained seated. I was always bold. I simply stopped wasting it. My clan can remove the Stonecrest family from Radiant City with one order. No. Your clan can pressure merchants, threaten weak elders, and hide behind city laws. That is not the same as power. The students behind Yan Zhen reached for their weapons. Lin Yue moved between them. If anyone attacks here, the Institute will investigate. Yan Zhen's anger deepened. You are protecting him. I am protecting Institute rules. Kai Ren stood. Do not worry, Yan Zhen. You will have a legal chance to attack me. What are you talking about? The younger generation tournament. The tournament was several months away. The Scarlet Crown clan controlled one of its main arenas and Radiant City's largest betting hall. Yan Zhen smiled. You would enter. Yes. I will break both your arms in front of the entire city. Lin Yue turned toward Kai Ren. Do not accept. Kai Ren met Yan Zhen's eyes. I accept. Yan Zhen left with his followers. Lin Yue waited until they were gone. You are not strong enough. Not yet. The Scarlet Crown clan may not wait for the tournament. Kai Ren looked toward the Institute rooftops. I know. That same afternoon, a message carrying Kai Ren's name and daily route left the Scarlet Crown estate. It traveled through 3 merchants before reaching a hidden building beneath the southern market. A black serpent symbol was stamped onto the order. The Night Serpent Guild had received its first request. Kai Ren needed money before they acted. Cultivation required herbs, beast blood, soul crystals, formation ink, weapons, and training rooms. The Stonecrest family could barely pay his institute fees. Fortunately, Kai Ren remembered what Radiant City had forgot. Purple mist grass grew in wet alleys and abandoned wells. Farmers mixed it into animal feed because it spoiled slowly. In several weeks, the Golden Cauldron Association would discover that properly refined purple mist grass stabilized soul awakening pills and reduced damage to the meridians. Its price would rise more than 30 times. Kai Ren borrowed every coin Du and Wei and Bo Chen could gather. Bo Chen stared at the mountain of purple plants inside an abandoned warehouse. We spent everything on weeds. Yes. My mother gave me that money for winter boots. You will be able to buy 100 pairs. I only have 2 feet. For several days, they purchased purple mist grass from every herb stall in the southern market. Merchants were delighted to sell. Some gave them extra bundles simply to clear space. Kai Ren asked Lin Yue to purchase more through her household servants without explaining why. She trusted him enough to obey. The money still was not sufficient for the resources Kai Ren needed, so he used another skill from his previous life. He purchased cheap blank scrolls, low-grade ink, and several pieces of fire beast bone. In the warehouse, he created simplified heating and defensive inscriptions. The first scroll produced stable, warm air for an entire night. The second created a barrier strong enough to block 3 attacks from an iron rank fighter. Du and Wei and Bo Chen carried them to the market under false names. A winter caravan purchased every heating scroll. 2 mercenary teams bought the defensive scrolls. Within 10 days, the group earned more money than Du and Wei's family normally saw in several years. Bo Chen counted the coins 3 times. We are rich. No, Kai Ren said, we have enough to begin. What does rich look like to you? Being able to buy every spirit stone in a large market without checking the price. Bo Chen laughed because the idea seemed absurd. Months later, he would remember those words. Kai Ren then wrote an anonymous letter to the Golden Cauldron Alchemist Association. It explained the exact purification temperature, the correct amount of purple mist grass, and the method for removing its bitter residue. He signed it with one name, the Wandering Furnace Master. Madame Huaying, the association's young director, initially believed the letter was nonsense. Then one of her assistants tested the method. The furnace did not explode. The pill formed perfectly. A second test succeeded, then a third. Within a day, the association sent buyers into every market. The price of purple mist grass doubled, then tripled. Within a week, merchants fought over the remaining supply. Kai Ren sold only 1/4 of his stock. The profit repaid every debt and purchased high-quality herbs for his friends. Bo Chen held a bag of coins against his chest. I take back everything I said about weeds. You called it wet horse hair. It is valuable wet horse hair. Kai Ren kept the rest. The association would soon need a stable supplier. Money was useful, influence was better. Every night, Kai Ren trained his group in the abandoned courtyard. They soaked in medicinal baths made from purple mist grass, starleaf, and powdered beast bone. The baths were painful. Bo Chen attempted to climb out during the first night. Kai Ren pushed him back with one hand. It feels like my skin is being cooked. That means the medicine is entering your channels. What happens if it enters too much? You faint. And then, you wake up stronger. That is not reassuring. Du and Wei remained silent through the pain. He thought of his family's debts and continued circulating the earth dragon breathing art. Kai Ren never allowed them to depend on medicine alone. Every bath was followed by physical training, soul force control, and study. He made Du and Wei read formation basics. He forced Bo Chen to memorize beast anatomy. He taught all 5 students how to recognize poison, traps, false merchants, and hidden killing intent. You are preparing us for war, Du and Wei said one night. Kai Ren looked toward Radiant City's walls. Yes. When? Before we are ready. Du and Wei did not ask again. Silvermoon Institute maintained a hunting ground for students beneath Iron Rank. The outer section contained steelhorn sheep, creatures larger than ordinary deer with hard gray horns and violent tempers. Their horns, hides, and spirit cores could be sold. Kai Ren brought his group there before sunrise. None of them possessed beast spirits. They could not transform. They carried simple bows, short blades, rope, and 6 inscription scrolls. Bo Chen looked at the weapons. Noble students bring armor and train guards. They also divide the profits with those guards, Kai Ren said. Their first target stood near a rocky slope. The steelhorn sheep lowered its head and scraped the ground. Du and Wei raised his bow. Do not shoot the skull, Kai Ren whispered. The bone will stop the arrow. Aim 2 fingers behind the front leg when it turns. Bo Chen moved toward the left to draw its attention. The sheep charged. Bo Chen waited too long. Its horn passed close enough to tear his sleeve. He threw himself aside and rolled through the dirt. Du and Wei released. The arrow struck the shoulder instead of the heart. The beast stumbled but did not fall. It spun and charged Du and Wei. Kai Ren stepped into its path. Du and Wei shouted, "Move." Kai Ren watched the front legs. The instant the sheep lowered its weight, he slid one foot behind a loose stone and kicked. The stone struck the wounded leg. The beast lost balance. Kai Ren moved beside its neck and drove the short blade through the gap beneath the jaw. The steel-horned sheep collapsed. Bo Chen sat in the dirt, breathing hard. You said this was the outer section. It is. I dislike the outer section. Kai Ren made them butcher the beast themselves. They learned where the spirit core rested, how to remove the hide without damaging it, and how to preserve blood for alchemy. By midday, they had killed 6. The 7th hunt went wrong. 2 sheep emerged from behind the rocks instead of 1. Duan Wei took the first charge with a reinforced shield scroll. The barrier cracked. Bo Chen fired 3 arrows, missing twice and hitting one beast in the flank. The wounded sheep became more violent. It struck Duan Wei's barrier again and shattered it. Kai Ren ordered the 3 commoner students to circle right. He threw a rope around a stone pillar, waited for the charging beast, then pulled the line tight across its front legs. The sheep crashed, rolled, and nearly crushed him. Kai Ren twisted beneath its body, cut the rear tendon, and escaped before the animal kicked. The second sheep charged Bo Chen. Bo Chen remembered the movement Kai Ren had taught him. He stepped diagonally, placed one hand on the horn, and used the creature's momentum to turn its head. Duan Wei drove a spear beneath its shoulder. The beast staggered. The waterline student struck its eye with a short arrow. It fell. The first sheep forced itself up despite the cut tendon. Kai Ren met it with an inscription scroll. The paper ignited. A line of fire flashed across the ground. The sheep stopped for half a breath. That was enough. Duan Wei's spear entered its throat. The group returned to the city exhausted, bruised, and carrying materials worth more than 100,000 spirit coins. Their first wealth had not appeared through luck. They had earned it with blood, mistakes, and teamwork. For the next 2 weeks, their hunts became more efficient. They learned to lay traps, rotate positions, protect wounded members, and preserve every valuable part. Kai Ren used each hunt as combat training. He did not allow them to rely on him for every kill. When a steelhorn ram nearly crushed the metal-aligned student, Duan Wei intercepted it. When Bo Chen's bowstring snapped, he used wind force through his bare hand to redirect a horn. When 3 beasts surrounded them in a narrow ravine, the commoner students held the rear line while Kai Ren collapsed a rock shelf with a prepared inscription. The noble students who once mocked them began watching the group return with full carts. Their progress attracted more hatred from Yan Zhen. One afternoon, 6 older scarlet-crowned students surrounded Kai Ren behind the library. Yan Zhen stood at the end of the path. "You embarrassed my family in class," he said. "You interfered with Lin Yue, you made the commoners believe they are equal to nobles." Kai Ren looked at the 6 students. None had reached silver rank, none possessed a contracted spirit, they could not transform. Their advantage was physical strength, higher soul force, and numbers. "What do you want?" Kai Ren asked. Yan Zhen smiled an apology. "I am sorry." Yan Zhen blinked. Kai Ren continued. "I am sorry your family copied the inscription badly. I am sorry Lin Yue dislikes you. I am sorry 6 students are needed to make you feel brave." The nearest student attacked. His fist carried enough strength to break stone. Kai Ren leaned back, allowed the punch to pass, caught the wrist, and turned. The attacker crashed shoulder first into a wall. A second student kicked at Kai Ren's ribs. Kai Ren raised one elbow, blocked the shin, and drove his palm into the knee. The student fell. 2 others rushed together. Kai Ren retreated toward a stack of library crates. He kicked the lower box. Scroll cases spilled across the ground. One attacker stepped on a rolling case and lost balance. Kai Ren struck his throat with 2 fingers hard enough to stop his breathing without crushing the windpipe. The 4th student reached Kai Ren from behind. A fist struck his shoulder. Kai Ren allowed the impact to turn his body, then used the rotation to drive his heel into the attacker's stomach. The young man flew into the crates. The final 2 hesitated. Yan Zhen shouted, "Finish him." They drew short clubs. Kai Ren picked up a fallen scroll case. The first club came from above. Kai Ren angled the case, guiding the strike past his ear. He stepped inside, hit the elbow, and drove the case against the attacker's temple. The second club swept low. Kai Ren jumped, planted one foot against the wall, and pushed himself backward over the attack. He landed behind the student and struck 3 points along the spine. The student's legs stopped responding. Yan Zhen's face changed. The fight had lasted less than 20 breaths. Kai Ren looked toward the nearby windows. Students had begun gathering. He suddenly staggered. Then he deliberately fell against the wall and coughed. Yan Zhen stared. Kai Ren raised his voice. The Scarlet Crown clan sent 6 older students to kill a Grey Palace student inside the institute. The crowd erupted. Yan Zhen understood too late. "We did not kill you. You tried. You defeated them." Kai Ren pressed one hand against his shoulder. "With 6 people attacking, perhaps my injuries are internal." Duan Wei and Bo Chen arrived with several classmates. Bo Chen immediately understood the act. He shouted loud enough for the entire courtyard to hear. Yan Zhen brought 6 people to beat Kai Ren to death. We did not, Yan Zhen said. Bo Chen pointed at the unconscious students. Then they all tripped at the same time. Institute guards arrived. Yan Zhen could not explain why 6 members of his family had surrounded Kai Ren with weapons. The Scarlet Crown clan paid compensation to avoid public punishment. Kai Ren used the money to buy more medicine. Yan Zhen's hatred deepened. Several days later, he challenged Kai Ren inside the library to a Soul Force contest. A smooth crystal table stood between them. The rules were simple. Both contestants would inject Soul Force from opposite sides. The one forced out first would lose. Yan Zhen's measured Soul Force exceeded 100. Kai Ren publicly remained below that level. Students gathered around. Yan Zhen placed his hand on the crystal. Red light spread from his side. Kai Ren rested 2 fingers against the opposite edge. Gray light appeared. Yan Zhen laughed. Then he pushed. The red force surged across the table. Kai Ren did not meet it directly. He separated his soul force into 9 thin currents. The currents moved around Yan Zhen's pressure, entered small gaps, and twisted. The red force suddenly lost balance. Yan Zhen pushed harder. Kai Ren rotated the currents again. The crystal vibrated. Yan Zhen felt a sharp pressure enter his soul palace. His face went pale. He tried to withdraw, but Kai Ren's force followed the connection. For one instant, Yan Zhen felt as though 9 blades had entered his mind. He screamed and fell backward. The crystal table cracked. Students stared at Kai Ren. He had not transformed. He had not used a beast ability. He had won through control alone. Kai Ren withdrew his hand. You have more soul force, he said. You simply do not know how to use it. Incident spread throughout Silvermoon Institute. Master Kai Fen attempted to dismiss it as a trick. Vice Headmaster Song examined the broken crystal and found no inscription or poison. He began observing Kai Ren more carefully. The Scarlet Crown clan stopped sending ordinary students. The next people who followed Kai Ren wore black threads around their wrists. The Night Serpent Guild had entered the game. Soon after, Silvermoon Institute announced an expedition to the ancient Moonfall ruins. The ruins stood beyond Radiant City's western forest. They had been abandoned since the Age of Ash because unstable formations, undead guardians, and shadow beasts filled their halls. A senior student named Qin Jian planned to lead a team into the outer ruins and retrieve lunar crystals. Kai Ren remembered the expedition. In his first life, most participants returned with ordinary treasures. One student discovered a black lantern inside an underground palace but died before leaving the ruins. The lantern passed through several owners until its true nature became known. It contained an extinct spirit beast called the Voidshade Panther. The beast could erase its presence, become invisible, merge with shadows, and temporarily turn its body into black mist. Kai Ren needed it. It would become the first spirit inside his 9-fold soul palace. He joined the expedition alone. Duanwei and Bo Chen remained at the institute to cultivate. Kai Ren did not tell them the true destination. The ruins were too dangerous and he could not protect everyone. The expedition included Qin Jian, Su Lion, Yan Zhen, 7 Scarlet Crown retainers, academy guards, and more than 20 older students. Before departure, Su Lion approached Kai Ren. You volunteered too quickly. I enjoy ruins. You knew about the hidden archive record. Now you are interested in a place almost nobody enters. You suspect everything. I suspect you. Kai Ren adjusted the bag on his shoulder. That is safer than trusting me. The team entered the western forest at dawn. The journey took 2 days. Kai Ren observed everyone. Yan Zhen had brought 2 retainers disguised as ordinary students. One carried a Scarlet Crown message seal. An academy guard wore a black thread beneath his sleeve. The Night Serpent Guild had already entered the expedition. The ancient Moonfall ruins appeared between dead trees on the second afternoon. Broken white towers rose through the mist. Stone moons covered the walls. Pale light moved over the ground even though the sun remained high. Qin Jian ordered the group into 3 lines. Kai Ren warned them not to step on silver tiles. Yan Zhen ignored him. The first silver tile he touched released a wave of cold light. Stone guardians awakened around the courtyard. There were 12. Each stood twice the height of a man and carried a crescent blade. The students drew weapons. No one below silver rank possessed a beast spirit. Only several older guards transformed. One guard merged with a stoneback bear. Gray fur covered his shoulders and his arms expanded. Another merged with a windhawk. Feathers formed along his forearm. The first guardian swung. The crescent blade struck the bear guard's arms and drove him 3 steps backward. Qin Jian shouted for the students to attack the joints. Most strikes bounced from the stone armor. Kai Ren watched the guardian movement. Every statue drew energy from a lunar core beneath the left shoulder. He ran toward the nearest one. A crescent blade swept at his waist. Kai Ren dropped flat. The weapon passed above him and cut through a pillar. He rolled beneath the guardian's arm, pushed off the ground, and drove a short spike into a thin crack under the shoulder plate. The The lunar core flashed. The guardian froze. Kai Ren twisted the spike. The statue collapsed. Su Lion saw the movement. She shouted the weak point to the others. The students changed tactics. Qin Jian climbed one guardian's back while the bear guard held its weapon. Su Lion placed a barrier between two statues, forcing them into each other. Yan Zhen used a fire inscription to heat a shoulder joint until it cracked. 3 guardians fell. Then 4 silver tiles activated together. The courtyard floor split. 2 additional statues rose from below. One swung a chain instead of a blade. The chain wrapped around an academy student's leg and dragged him across the stone. Kai Ren sprinted after him. He stepped on the chain, ran along its length, and jumped as the guardian pulled. The movement carried him toward the statue's chest. He struck the shoulder crack with both feet. The plate shifted but did not break. The guardian raised one stone hand. Kai Ren pushed off the chest before it could crush him. Su Lion's barrier appeared beneath his feet. Kai Ren used it as a platform, changed direction, and drove the spike into the exposed core. The guardian shattered. The chain loosened. The wounded students survived. The battle continued across the courtyard without a break. Stone blades cut trenches through the ground. The transformed guards held the front line. Students with bows targeted exposed cracks. Qin Jian ordered the group to rotate whenever someone's soul force weakened. Kai Ren destroyed 3 guardians personally. He did not use a beast transformation because he possessed none. Every movement came from experience, timing, and knowledge of the formation. When the final statue fell, the courtyard was covered in broken stone and blood. Su Lion approached Kai Ren. You knew their weak points. I saw the cracks. You saw cracks hidden beneath armor before any plate moved. Yes. That is not believable. Then believe I am lucky. She gave him the same irritated look as before. The group reached an inner hall by sunset. There they found 3 dead scouts. Each had a thin black wound across the throat, not beast attacks, assassins. Kai Ren crouched beside one body. Shadow poison remained near the wound. Qin Jian ordered everyone to remain together. Yan Zhen argued that the scouts had probably fought among themselves. Kai Ren looked at him. Your explanation arrived quickly. Yan Zhen's eyes narrowed. What are you implying? Nothing yet. That night the assassins attacked. They extinguished the group's lamps and released powder that confused spiritual senses. Students shouted in darkness. Steel moved without sound. Kai Ren closed his eyes. He listened to breathing, cloth, and the scrape of feet over stone. An assassin appeared behind Su Lion. Kai Ren threw a broken tile. It struck the attacker's wrist. Su Lion turned and raised a barrier. The blade hit the barrier and released sparks. Qin Jian's voice echoed through the hall. Backs together. Do not chase. A masked man dropped from the ceiling near Kai Ren. His short sword moved toward Kai Ren's neck. Kai Ren stepped inside the attack, trapped the wrist beneath his elbow, and struck the man's throat. The assassin recovered faster than an ordinary student. He twisted, drew a second blade, and cut Kai Ren's sleeve. Kai Ren kicked the knee sideways. The joint bent. The assassin fell. A second attacker released 3 black needles. Kai Ren moved behind a pillar. The needles entered stone and spread dark poison. The attacker circled left. Kai Ren went right, but a third assassin blocked the passage. They had prepared specifically for him. One attacked high. The other swept low. Kai Ren jumped over the low blade, caught the pillar edge, and rotated his body around it. Both attacks passed beneath him. He released his grip and landed behind the second assassin. His elbow struck the base of the skull. The man dropped. The first attacker spun and cut across Kai Ren's chest. Blood appeared. Kai Ren retreated 2 steps. The assassin rushed, believing him wounded. Kai Ren threw a pouch into the air. The attacker cut it. Purple mist powder exploded across his face. He inhaled and coughed. Kai Ren closed the distance. One palm struck the chest. 2 fingers hit the throat. A knee entered the stomach. The assassin collapsed. Across the hall, the transformed Windhawk guard fought a masked silver rank spirit master. The assassin merged with a shadow wolf. Black fur covered his arms. His jaw lengthened. Claws tore through the guard's wing feathers. Qin Jian joined the fight with a spear. The shadow wolf avoided the first thrust and moved towards Su Lion. Kai Ren saw the root. He kicked a fallen blade across the floor. Su Lion stepped on it accidentally, but the blade lifted just enough for her foot to change direction. The shadow wolf's claws missed her by a finger. Her barrier formed against his chest. Qin Jian's spear struck his back. The assassin rolled, tore the weapon free, and escaped through a broken window. Kai Ren did not follow. The main attack was a distraction. He led the group through a side passage before another wave arrived. The assassins pursued. Kai Ren had chosen the corridor deliberately. At its end was a circular chamber with 12 stone moons carved into the floor. He stepped on the 7th moon. The ancient formation awakened. Pale chains erupted from the walls. One assassin jumped. A chain caught his ankle and slammed him down. Another tried to cut through the links. The blade shattered. 3 attackers became trapped. The shadow wolf leader used Moonless Step and escaped before the chamber sealed. Kai Ren recognized the movement. Only ranked members of the Night Serpent Guild learned it. The assassin looked back before vanishing. That gaze carried more than anger. He knew Kai Ren's name. When the immediate danger passed, Kai Ren claimed he had seen another exit during the battle. He entered a collapsed prayer hall alone, removed a stone eye from a moon statue, and opened a hidden door. A narrow staircase descended beneath the temple. At the bottom stood a black lantern framed by silver claws. Smoke moved behind its glass. When Kai Ren touched it, two pale eyes opened inside the darkness. A growl entered his mind. The Void-Shade Panther had awakened. The lantern released a wave of pressure. Kai Ren's soul palace shook. The extinct beast tried to force itself into the nearest chamber. Kai Ren activated the ninefold soul palace art. The first chamber opened. Gray chains wrapped around the panther. It resisted. Blood ran from Kai Ren's nose. His cultivation was too weak to complete the contract. He sealed the lantern again. Not yet. The pale eyes narrowed. When I reach silver rank, you will enter my soul palace. The panther answered with a silent snarl. Kai Ren stored the lantern inside an interspatial pouch. Behind the altar, he found a piece of black jade marked with a coiled serpent. Beneath it was a second symbol, a scarlet crown, the first physical proof of the alliance. Still, it was not enough. The Scarlet Crown clan could claim the mark was forged. Kai Ren needed payment records, names, and living witnesses. A sound came from the staircase. Su Lion stood at the entrance. How long have you known this place existed? Kai Ren looked at the open chamber. Long enough. What did you take? Something dangerous. Are you going to tell me? No. Su Lion stepped closer. The assassins targeted you. They targeted several people. They knew which students would join the expedition. Someone gave them information from inside the city. Kai Ren glanced toward the upper ruins. Su Lion followed his gaze. You suspect Yan Zhen? I suspect his family. Her expression became serious. The Scarlet Crown clan is one of the pillars of Radiant City. Pillars can become gates. What does that mean? Kai Ren placed the black jade in her hand. It means you should show this only to your grandfather. The expedition did not end there. The group still needed to cross the underground palace to reach another exit. The palace contained a chamber full of lunar beasts made from bone and silver light. The first creature crawled from a wall niche while Kai Ren and Su Lion returned. It resembled a six-legged wolf with no eyes. Qin Jian shouted a warning. The beast leaped. The transformed bear guard blocked it, but its claws cut through the gray fur and opened his shoulder. 3 more emerged. The students formed a circle. Kai Ren identified the creatures by sound. Moonbone hounds hunted through vibration. Stop moving, he ordered. Several students ignored him and backed away. The hounds immediately turned toward them. One attacked Yan Zhen. He raised a flame shield. The beast passed through the fire and struck him across the chest. His retainers pulled it away with chains. Kai Ren picked up a small stone and threw it across the hall. The sound drew 2 hounds. They collided with a pillar. Qin Jian understood. He ordered everyone to remain still and use thrown objects to redirect the beasts. The battle changed. Su Lion created barriers in empty spaces, allowing the hounds to crash into them. Kai Ren threw stones with precise timing. The bear guard waited beside each impact point and crushed the stunned creatures with a hammer. Yan Zhen recovered and used a flame inscription beneath one hound after it stopped moving. The silver bones heated until they cracked. The final hound reached Kai Ren before his next throw. Its claws opened. Kai Ren stepped toward it instead of back. The creature tracked the vibration and adjusted too late. Kai Ren slid beneath its chest, drove his blade into the joint between 2 ribs and twisted. The hound collapsed over him. Su Lion lifted the body with a barrier before the bones could crush him. The group escaped the palace at sunrise. 2 assassins were dead. 3 remained trapped in the lunar formation. Before the academy guards could question them, black seals appeared across their necks. All 3 died at the same moment. Su Lion looked at Kai Ren. You expected that? Yes. Who are they? People who do not want Radiant City to learn what they are buying beneath it. The return journey was tense. Yan Zhen denied any connection to the attack. Qin Jian reported everything to the Institute. Vice Headmaster Song increased security around the students. The Night Serpent Guild withdrew its visible watchers. Kai Ren knew that did not mean they had abandoned him. It meant their next attempt would be more careful. The Moonfall expedition ended with no public treasure great enough to excite the noble clans. To Kai Ren, it had changed everything. He returned with proof that the Scarlet Crown clan and Night Serpent Guild had touched the same ruins, a sealed invisible spirit waiting for him to become strong enough, and Su Lion's growing suspicion that he knew the future of places he had never visited. The Institute believed the expedition was finished. Kai Ren understood that the first hidden battle had only ended. After returning to Radiant City, Kai Ren focused on reaching silver rank. The Void-Shade Panther waited inside the Black Lantern. He also needed a powerful organization behind him before the Scarlet Crown clan moved openly. So he walked into the Golden Cauldron Alchemist Association. The guards laughed when a 13-year-old requested the primary alchemist examination. One finally allowed him inside after Kai Ren correctly identified the poison causing a merchant's swollen hand. The examination consisted of 3 rounds. The first required applicants to identify 600 herbs, including several that looked nearly identical. Kai Ren completed the test before the examiner finished pouring tea. The examiner assumed he had memorized the order. He changed the trays. Kai Ren identified them again, then pointed out that 2 samples had been stored in the wrong containers and would lose half their potency before sunset. The second round tested theory. Applicants received a thick booklet covering furnaces, medicinal interactions, poison, failed pills, and the circulation of spiritual heat. Kai Ren answered every question. On one page, he crossed out the association's official solution. The examiner became angry. Kai Ren explained that mixing red marrow flour with cold skull powder at the listed temperature would create a hidden heart poison after 3 months. An elderly master checked an old case record. The symptoms matched. The room became silent. The third round required each applicant to refine a basic healing pellet. 12 furnaces stood inside the hall. Kai Ren prepared his ingredients without rushing. Instead of using the association's standard 3-flame method, he divided the fire into 7 thin currents. The examiner frowned. That method will destroy the herbs. The herbs melted, separated, and merged. A clean fragrance filled the room. Kai Ren opened the furnace. 9 perfect healing pellets rested inside. Most junior alchemists produced 3. Experienced masters produced 6. Kai Ren had produced 9 without visible impurity. Madame Hua Ying arrived before the examination ended. She wore a dark green robe and a golden cauldron emblem at her waist. "You are connected to the Wandering Furnace Master," she said. Kai Ren did not confirm it. He placed 5 folded formulas on the table. The Meridian Cleansing Pill, the Soul Gathering Pellet, the Beast Blood Refinement Elixir, the 9-Breath Recovery Pill, the Scarlet Body Tempering Pill. Hua Ying read the first pages. "These are incomplete. I removed the final steps. You are bargaining before proving they work. The purple mist grass method already proved enough." She dismissed the examiners. When they were alone, she asked, "What does your master want?" 30% of all profit. Impossible. Then continue producing weaker pills. Hua Ying studied him. 20%. 30. Access to rare herbs, protection for the Stonecrest family if another clan pressures them, and no investigation into my master. Your master demands much. My master understands value. Hua Ying smiled slightly. And you speak as though the formulas belong to you. Kai Ren said nothing. The association tested the first complete formula. The Meridian Cleansing Pill removed impurities from damaged channels. Its effect surpassed every similar product sold in Radiant City. The second increased cultivation speed without leaving harmful residue. The third allowed bound spirits to absorb bloodline essence more safely. The fourth stabilized fatal injuries. The fifth strengthened the bodies of both fighters and spirit masters. President Gu Yan of the Golden Cauldron Association personally examined the results. He offered 50% of the profits to Kai Ren's supposed master. Kai Ren accepted only 30. He asked that part of the association's remaining share be used to train poor apprentices and purchase emergency medicine for the city walls. That request made them trust the mysterious master even more. The agreement did not make Kai Ren rich in a single moment. First, the formulas had to survive large-scale production. For 7 days, the association closed 3 refining halls and ordered every furnace master to follow Kai Ren's instructions exactly. The first hall produced Meridian Cleansing Pills. The second produced Soul Gathering Pellets. The third attempted the harder Beast Blood Refinement Elixir, Scarlet Body Tempering Pill, and 9-Breath Recovery Pill. Several older alchemists disliked receiving instructions from a child. One senior master secretly increased the furnace temperature because he believed Kai Ren's method was too slow. The herbs burned. Black smoke exploded from the lid, ruining ingredients worth more than 100,000 spirit coins. Kai Ren did not argue. He placed the burned residue beside a perfect pill created with the correct temperature. After that, no one changed his instructions. The first production run created 6,000 Meridian Cleansing Pills, 4,000 Soul Gathering Pellets, 600 Beast Blood Refinement Elixirs, 100 Scarlet Body Tempering Pills, and 12 9-Breath Recovery Pills. President Gu placed samples before the association elders. A guard whose right arm had remained numb for 5 years regained movement after consuming a Meridian Cleansing Pill. A silver rank cultivator who had been trapped at the same stage for 8 months broke through after using 3 Soul Gathering Pellets. A wounded Ironhide wolf absorbed purified blood essence without losing control. The Scarlet Body Tempering Pill increased an academy instructor's physical strength by nearly 20%. The final test involved a mercenary whose chest had been pierced by a beast horn. Physicians believed he would die before sunrise. After he swallowed a 9-breath recovery pill, the bleeding stopped. His heartbeat stabilized before the 9th breath. No elder questioned the formulas again. The association announced the medicines throughout Radiant City. Meridian cleansing pills would sell for 200 spirit coins each. Soul gathering pellets would sell for 500. Beast blood refinement elixirs would cost 2,000. Scarlet body tempering pills would be restricted to approved families at 20,000 each. The 9-breath recovery pills would not receive a normal shop price. Only 3 would be released publicly. They would appear during the grand spirit auction. The announcement changed the city within a week. Cultivators lined up outside the association before sunrise. Families that once ignored alchemy sent gifts to President Gu and Madame Huaying. Mercenary groups offered long-term contracts. The city guard reserved healing pills. Governor Suhin purchased emergency supplies for the western wall. Kai Ren watched the crowd from a private room. Bo Chen stood beside him with his mouth open. All those people are buying your formulas. They are buying pills. You receive 30%. Yes. Bo Chen attempted to calculate the amount and gave up. Madame Huaying delivered Kai Ren's first account book. His share from the opening release was 3,400,000 spirit coins. The second payment, delivered 10 days later, exceeded 8 million. The third was larger still. Kai Ren did not store all of it. He purchased medicinal baths, soul crystals, training weapons, and formation materials. He paid Duan Wei's family debts. He arranged treatment for Bo Chen's mother. He supplied the 3 commoner students with resources normally reserved for noble heirs. He placed medicine inside the Stonecrest family's warehouses before the clan even knew he controlled the formulas. The remaining profit stayed in accounts protected by the association, so the Scarlet Crown clan could not trace it easily. The formulas strengthened more than Kai Ren. They strengthened Radiant City. Academy students who had been unable to progress broke through. Young guards recovered from training injuries. Poor alchemy apprentices found paid work because the association needed hundreds of new hands. President Gu removed the apprentice entrance fee and opened 2 public teaching halls. The Night Serpent Guild tried to purchase large quantities through hidden merchants. Kai Ren recognized the pattern. He advised Huaying to mark every batch with a secret inscription. 3 merchants connected to the guild were exposed when marked pills appeared in their warehouses. By the time the annual institute examination arrived, Kai Ren had turned 5 formulas into money, resources, political protection, public goodwill, and an information network. Master Kaio Fen still believed the Grey Palace student was struggling to reach 100 points. Half the city was already changing because of him. The examination courtyard contained 3 testing stations. The first measured physical strength, the second measured soul force, the third inspected the stability of the soul palace. Thousands of students gathered around the platforms. Master Kaio Fen led Kai Ren's class toward the testing area. She looked at him. If you apologize now, I may allow you to leave quietly after you fail. Kai Ren smiled. If you prepare your resignation now, the ink may dry before the test ends. Her face hardened. Duan Wei tested first. He stood before the black strength stone, adjusted his breathing, and drove his fist forward. The stone shook. A deep dent appeared. 186 units of strength, the examiner announced. Students shouted. Duan Wei had been considered unlikely to reach iron rank before graduation. He struck a second time. The earth dragon breathing art gathered force through his legs and spine. The dent deepened. 198. His soul force test reached 194. Duan Wei had entered 1-star iron rank and was close to the 2nd star. Bo Chen stepped forward next. His first punch reached 172. He frowned. Kai Ren called from the crowd, "Your shoulder is too tight." Bo Chen rolled his shoulder and remembered the correct wind rotation. His second strike reached 204. His soul force reached 206. He had entered 2-star iron rank. The 3 commoner students who stood beside Kai Ren during the punishment also broke through. Every one of them had once been dismissed as a future servant or laborer. Lin Yue placed her hand against the soul crystal. Violet lightning moved through its center. 287. Even Vice Headmaster Song rose. 2 months earlier, Lin Yue's cultivation had been slowing. Now her soul force had more than tripled. Master Kaio Fen's face lost color. Then Kai Ren stepped forward. The courtyard became quiet. Many students had come only to witness the bet. Kai Ren stood before the strength stone. He could have produced a result far above 100. The 9-fold soul palace art had strengthened his body through constant compression. Instead, he struck with carefully measured force. A shallow den appeared, 100 units. Exactly the minimum for 1-star iron rank. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Kai Ren moved to the soul crystal. Master Kaio Fen smiled tightly. Physical strength alone does not make a spirit master. Kai Ren placed his hand on the crystal. The ninefold art rotated. He suppressed most of his soul force and allowed only a thin stream to enter. The number stopped at 100, exactly 100. The courtyard became silent. The examiner checked again. 100 soul force, 1-star iron rank. Master Kai Fen's face changed. He cheated. Vice Headmaster Song examined the crystal. There is no interference. He had 5 points 2 months ago. And now he has 100. He used a forbidden medicine. Kai Ren opened his sleeve. Test my meridians. Forbidden pills left heat scars, unstable residue, or swollen channels. The examiner found none. Kai Ren moved to the final station. The palace inspection crystal showed a gray light. 9 tiny currents moved inside it. The examiner could not understand the pattern, but the palace walls were stable. Kai Ren turned toward the gathered students. Master Kai Fen promised to resign if I entered iron rank. Her hands trembled. My teaching position cannot be decided by a childish wager. Vice Headmaster Song's voice became cold. A teacher's word carries responsibility. He looked at her. You will no longer instruct this class. Her face went pale. The commoner students who had once lowered their heads in her lessons looked at Kai Ren with open gratitude. He had not only won for himself, he had proven that her judgment was not absolute. Master Kai Fen left the courtyard without speaking. The promise made in the classroom had been completed. Duanwei Bo Chen and the others had revealed their progress. Lin Yue's failing cultivation had become one of the strongest in the class. Kai Ren had shown only the minimum required to win. The institute believed it had finally measured him. It still had no idea how much he had hidden. After the examination, Yan Zhen confronted Lin Yue before dozens of students. You will stop meeting Kai Ren. Lin Yue did not look at him. You do not command me. Our engagement binds our clans. Your family wrote that agreement. I never accepted it. Yan Zhen seized her wrist. Kai Ren appeared beside him. Release her. Yan Zhen turned. You believe one examination changed your position. No, your hand is what will change position if you do not let go. Yan Zhen released Lin Yue and laughed. The tournament is approaching. You already accepted my challenge. I remember. I will make you kneel before the entire city. Kai Ren looked at the gathering crowd, then make the wager public. What wager? If you defeat me, I will leave Silvermoon Institute and apologize to the Scarlet Crown clan before every family attending. Students murmured. Yan Zhen smiled. And if you win? Lin Yue's engagement is dissolved, and your clan pays the Stonecrest family 50 million spirit coins. Yan Zhen's expression shifted. The amount was enormous. Before he could refuse, Lin Yue spoke. If Kai Ren loses, I will return every cultivation resource my family spent on me. Yan Zhen stared at her. You trust him that much? I trust your arrogance more. The confrontation became the main rumor in the institute. The Scarlet Crown clan could not withdraw without losing face. The tournament challenge was set. The annual examination ended. Duanwei returned to his distant village for the family holiday. Bo Chen traveled west with his parents. The 3 commoner students also returned to their towns. Lin Yue entered the Thunder Sanctuary, a sealed institute training realm that would strengthen her repaired meridians. Su Lion remained with the governor's household. For the first time in 2 months, Kai Ren's friends were scattered. Kai Ren returned alone to the Stonecrest family territory. The clan occupied a declining town near Radiant City's southern wall. Its fields produced ordinary herbs. Its guards carried old weapons. Several buildings had been closed because the family could not afford repairs. Kai Ren's younger sister, Kai Mei, ran through the gate and wrapped her arms around him. You came back. In his first life, Kai Ren had found only her bracelet after Radiant City fell. He held her tightly. Kai Mei pulled away. You are acting strange. I missed you. You saw me during the spring festival. That was months ago. Inside the family home, his father Kai Ming and his mother waited beside a low table. His father's shoulders were thinner than Kai Ren remembered. Years of farming and an old channel injury had weakened him. His mother's cough was still mild. It would become severe during the next winter. Kai Ren sat with them until late evening. He listened to ordinary stories about the fields, missing roof tiles, and Kai Mei's lessons. The simplicity hurt more than any battlefield. The next morning, clan juniors gathered around the training square. News of Kai Ren's examination had reached them, but most did not believe it. Kai Zuo, the son of an influential elder, looked at Kai Ren's plain clothes. So the institute genius returned. Kai Ren continued walking. Kai Zuo blocked him. We heard you reached iron rank. I did. With a Gray Soul Palace. Yes. Kai Zuo laughed. Several cousins joined him. The institute probably lowered the requirement for poor students. Kai Ren looked at the wooden practice posts around them. Strike 1. Kai Zuo frowned. What? Show me your strength. Kai Zuo stepped before a post and punched. The wood cracked. 140 units, a nearby instructor estimated. Kai Zuo smiled. Kai Ren approached another post. He placed his palm lightly against the surface. The cousins laughed. Kai Ren released a short pulse. The outside of the post remained whole. Kai Zuo shook his head. Then a line appeared through the wood. The entire center collapsed into powder while the bark remained standing. The training square became quiet. Kai Ren walked past. Clan members still disliked him. Some believed he was arrogant. Others blamed him for the Scarlet Crown clan's pressure on their merchants. Several elders openly said that one troublesome child could destroy a small family. Kai Ren ignored them. He spent the first week training inside the family forest. Every morning he climbed the northern ridge carrying stones. Every afternoon he practiced compression beneath a waterfall. Every night he used golden cauldron medicines to gather soul force toward the barrier of silver rank. He also treated his family. He pressed the miracle meridian hand technique into his father's back and reopened 2 blocked channels. Kai Ming felt warmth enter his legs for the first time in years. Kai Ren gave his mother medicine made from moonroot and clear-lung flower. Her cough disappeared within 3 days. He taught Kai Mei a gentle, wood-aligned breathing method. He treated his uncle's hardened channels and helped him gather soul force again after more than a decade. The family did not understand where he learned these things. His mother asked once. Kai Ren answered, "A master taught me." She smiled. "You used to lie better." She did not press further. The main clan elders summoned Kai Ren to the hall after merchant contracts were cancelled. Elder Kai Hong struck the table. "You offended the Scarlet Crown clan, embarrassed their instructor, and challenged their heir." Kai Ren's father stood beside him. "My son followed institute rules." "Rules will not restore our businesses," Kai Hong said. 3 merchants cancelled contracts. 2 herb caravans refused to enter our town. Another elder added, "Kai Ren must apologize and withdraw from the tournament." Kai Ren looked at Patriarch Kai Sheng. The old man appeared exhausted. The family was close to collapse. "Will surrendering me restore the contracts?" Kai Ren asked. Kai Hong frowned. "It will show respect." "It will show weakness. The Scarlet Crown clan will demand more." "You are a child, and you propose handing one of the clan's children to an enemy." Kai Hong rose, impudent. Patriarch Kai Sheng stopped him. Kai Ren entered the institute's advanced class. "We will not surrender him without considering the consequences." The support was weak, but it prevented immediate punishment. Kai Ren left the hall. He needed silver rank before the Night Serpent Guild attacked again. He entered a cave behind the family waterfall. Soul crystals surrounded him. Golden cauldron medicines lay open beside the black lantern. Kai Ren began compressing his soul force. The 9-fold soul palace art pulled energy into the center. Pressure built. His palace walls stretched. Kai Ren continued. The energy became so dense that it stopped moving. Pain cut through his skull. The 9 chambers shook. Most cultivators allowed soul force to expand naturally during a breakthrough. Kai Ren forced it inward. The palace tore. Blood ran from his nose and mouth. He remained seated. The first wall cracked. Kai Ren guided the escaping energy back into the center. The second wall broke. His consciousness blurred. He remembered his sister's bracelet in the snow. He remembered Duan Wei's body at the bridge. He remembered Su Lion dying against his chest. Kai Ren compressed again. The center of the soul palace collapsed. For one terrifying instant, nothing remained. Then the compressed energy exploded outward. The palace rebuilt itself around a larger core. The first chamber became solid. Soul force surged through Kai Ren's body. Silver light filled the cave. He had entered 1-star silver rank. Kai Ren did not rest. He opened the black lantern. The Voidshade Panther emerged as smoke and silver eyes. This time, Kai Ren opened the first chamber completely. The beast attacked his consciousness. Its claws struck the palace chains. Kai Ren's body convulsed. The panther had been imprisoned for centuries. It did not want another cage. Kai Ren entered the chamber mentally and faced it. "You can return to the lantern," he said, "or you can hunt the people who sealed you." The panther circled him. Its body vanished and appeared behind his back. Kai Ren did not turn. "You desire freedom," he continued. "I desire enemies who believe darkness belongs to them." The panther's claws stopped beside his throat. "Choose." The beast looked into Kai Ren's memories. It saw ruined cities. It saw the Night Serpent Guild. It saw the masked leader who used the same shadow seal as the lantern. The panther roared. The contract formed. Black markings spread across Kai Ren's arms and neck. His pupils became silver. For the first time in this life, he possessed a bound spirit. He He tested the transformation inside the cave. When he merged partially, his muscles became leaner, black patterns crossed his skin, and spectral claws formed around his fingers. Veil skin erased his visible body for several breaths. Shadow passage allowed him to enter one shadow and emerge from another nearby. Presence erasure hid his heartbeat, scent, soul force, and killing intent. Void mist turned part of his body into black vapor, allowing a physical strike to pass through if timed correctly. The techniques consumed enormous energy. Kai Ren practiced until he could remain invisible for 7 breaths and use void mist twice before exhaustion. That night, the assassins came. 3 figures entered the Stonecrest forest from the eastern ridge. Kai Ren sensed them through the panther before the family guards noticed anything. He left the cave without waking anyone. Moonlight covered the trees. The first assassin moved along the branches. The second crossed the ground. The third remained farther back. Kai Ren hid his presence and followed. The 2 front attackers wore ordinary clothing, but black serpent marks rested beneath their collars. Both were 5-star silver rank fighters. The man behind them was different. His soul force was stronger. A bound spirit slept inside his palace. The assassins stopped near the family's medicinal warehouse. "One target," the leader said. "Kill the boy and burn the building. The town will blame a furnace accident." Kai Ren watched from a tree shadow. He allowed the first assassin to pass. The second came within 3 steps. Kai Ren activated Veil Skin. His body disappeared. The assassin stopped. A faint wind moved beside him. He turned. Kai Ren's spectral claw entered beneath the ribs. The strike cut a major vessel without touching the heart. The assassin tried to shout. Kai Ren covered his mouth and lowered him silently. The first attacker sensed movement. He spun and threw 3 knives. Kai Ren released Veil Skin. One knife passed through his sleeve. Another cut his upper arm. The third missed. The assassin saw a 13-year-old standing over his companion. "You." Kai Ren moved first. The assassin drew a hooked blade and slashed horizontally. Kai Ren leaned back. The hook cut a tree behind him. The second slash came from below. Kai Ren blocked with spectral claws. Metal struck shadow energy. The impact drove him backward. The assassin was physically stronger. He attacked again. Kai Ren retreated between 2 trees. The hooked blade cut bark, branches, and empty air. Kai Ren waited for the 4th strike. The assassin overextended. Kai Ren entered the shadow of the left tree. Shadow passage pulled him through darkness. He emerged behind the attacker. The assassin sensed him and dropped low. Kai Ren's claw passed over his head. The hooked blade swept backward. Kai Ren used Void Mist. The weapon passed through his side. Black vapor twisted around the blade. Kai Ren reformed and struck the attacker's elbow. The joint broke. The assassin grunted but did not release the weapon. He turned with a shoulder strike. Kai Ren took the blow and flew into a tree. Pain spread across his ribs. The leader finally moved. A heavy kick struck Kai Ren's abdomen before he could recover. Kai Ren flew several meters and crashed against another trunk. Blood entered his mouth. The leader looked at the 2 fallen men. One was dead. The other was bleeding out. "You killed them without reaching gold rank." Kai Ren wiped his lips. "Your guild trains careless assassins." The leader's face changed. His soul palace opened. Black and silver energy erupted around him. He merged with a black star tiger. His body expanded. Dark fur covered his shoulders and arms. His jaw lengthened. Claws formed over his hands. He stood nearly twice Kai Ren's height. The tiger aura pressed through the forest. Clan juniors training nearby felt it and began running toward the sound. Kai Ren needed to end the fight before they arrived. The Black Star Tiger leader charged. His first claw tore through the tree beside Kai Ren. Kai Ren ducked and cut across the attacker's thigh. The spectral claw opened skin but failed to penetrate deeply. Tiger fur and soul force protected the muscles. The leader turned with a backhand. Kai Ren blocked. The strike lifted him from the ground. He landed badly, rolled, and barely avoided a downward claw that split the soil. The tiger attacked without pause. Left claw, right elbow, knee, tail-like energy swept from behind. Kai Ren retreated step by step. A claw cut across his chest. Blood soaked his shirt. The leader smiled. "Invisibility is useless once I know where you are." Kai Ren activated presence erasure. His soul force vanished. The leader stopped sensing him, but his eyes remained fixed on the blood trail. Kai Ren moved left. The tiger followed the falling drops. Kai Ren understood. He tore a strip from his shirt, wiped blood across it, and threw it right. The leader attacked the cloth. Kai Ren entered a tree shadow and emerged beside the tiger's neck. His claws struck the artery. The leader twisted at the final moment. The attack cut his shoulder instead. He roared and drove one fist into Kai Ren's chest. Kai Ren flew backward. 2 ribs cracked. He struck the ground and rolled through leaves. Clan voices were approaching. The leader heard them. He gathered black energy into both claws. "I will remove your head and leave." Kai Ren forced himself up. The panther's silver eyes opened inside his soul palace. He had enough energy for one more void mist and one more shadow passage. The tiger rushed. Kai Ren waited until the claws were within a finger of his throat. Void mist. His upper body became black vapor. The claws passed through. The leader's momentum carried him forward. Kai Ren reformed behind him. Shadow passage opened beneath the tiger's feet in the shadow of a low branch. Kai Ren vanished downward and emerged above the leader's back. He drove both spectral claws toward the base of the skull. The tiger sensed death. He threw his head forward and rolled. Kai Ren's claws cut the back instead of the skull. The leader seized Kai Ren's ankle and smashed him into the ground. The impact emptied Kai Ren's lungs. The tiger lifted him again. Kai Ren released the panther transformation from his left arm to reduce the weight, twisted, and drove 2 fingers into the leader's eye. The tiger dropped him and roared. Kai Ren landed on one knee. The leader's left eye bled. His right remained fixed on Kai Ren. "You will die." He charged blindly. Kai Ren did not retreat. He picked up the hooked blade dropped by the dead assassin. The tiger raised both claws. Kai Ren stepped inside the reach. One claw entered his shoulder. Pain exploded. Kai Ren continued forward and drove the hooked blade beneath the tiger's jaw. The weapon pierced the mouth and entered the brain. The leader froze. His transformation flickered. Kai Ren pulled the blade free and moved aside. The massive body fell. The forest became quiet. Kai Ren stood between 3 assassins, bleeding from his shoulder, chest, and mouth. The Voidshade Panther transformation faded. Clan juniors arrived first. Kai Xiu and several cousins stopped at the edge of the clearing. They had spent days mocking the weak student from the poor branch. Now they saw 2 dead silver rank assassins and a transformed spirit master lying at Kai Ren's feet. Kai Xiu looked at the black star tiger markings fading from the leader's body. He was a spirit master. Kai Ren swayed. Before anyone could question him, another night serpent member fled through the trees. Elder Kai Ren pursued. The sound of fighting moved deeper into the forest. Kai Ren knelt beside the leader and searched him. He found a black token, payment notes, and a small scarlet crown seal. Kai Ren hid the payment notes inside his sleeve before the others came closer. The seal remained visible. The family would need to see part of the truth. Elder Kai Ren returned several minutes later. His expression was grim. The last assassin escaped. Kai Xiu pointed at the bodies. Did Kai Ren kill them? Elder Kai Ren examined the wounds. He looked at Kai Ren's injuries, then at the hooked blade. The first 2 were killed by precise attacks. The leader died through the mouth during a close fight. He did not sound certain. Kai Ren said nothing. The family carried him back to the main hall. The elders gathered before sunrise. Some refused to believe the boy had fought alone. Others suggested a hidden protector had intervened. Elder Kai Hong looked at the scarlet crown seal found on the corpse. This may have been planted. Kai Ren's father stood. "My son was nearly killed, and you are searching for a reason to protect the people who sent them." Kai Hong struck the table. "Do not accuse a major clan without proof." A servant rushed into the hall. "Madam Hua Ying of the Golden Cauldron Association has arrived." Every elder stood. Association carriages entered the town carrying guards, physicians, and sealed boxes. Madam Hua Ying walked into the hall with 4 senior alchemists. Her gaze swept across the elders and stopped on Kai Ren's bandaged shoulder. Her expression became cold. "Who allowed him to remain untreated for this long?" The clan physician stepped back. "We stabilized him." Hua Ying personally opened a bottle of 9-breath recovery medicine and handed it to Kai Ren. Patriarch Kai Sheng bowed. "Director Hua, our family is honored. We did not know you had business here." "I came because an honored consultant of the Golden Cauldron Association was attacked." The hall became silent. Elder Kai Hong recovered first. "You mean Kai Ren?" Hua Ying turned toward him. "Who else?" She placed a contract on the table. The Golden Cauldron Association appoints the Stonecrest family as a primary supplier of purple mist grass, moonroot, and ironleaf. The contract was worth more than the family's annual income several times over. She placed a second document beside it. The association will station gold-rank guards in this town until the night serpent threat is resolved. Then she looked at Kai Hong. Any attempt to punish, surrender, or restrict Kai Ren will be considered interference with association business. Kai Hong's face lost color. Patriarch Kai Sheng looked between Hua Ying and Kai Ren. "How did this happen?" Kai Ren placed 3 interspatial rings on the table. Inside were pills, weapons, formation plates, and enough money to repair the entire town. "I made a few profitable decisions." His younger sister peeked through the door. Her eyes widened when gold spilled from one ring. The conflict inside the family ended with a complete reversal. Elders who wanted to surrender Kai Ren lost control of the merchant division. His father gained authority over the new association contracts. His mother received permanent medical support. His sister could cultivate without counting every coin. Clan members who mocked Kai Ren now lowered their voices when he passed. The Scarlet Crown clan had tried to isolate one weak student. Instead, its pressure pushed the Stonecrest family into an alliance with the strongest alchemy organization in the city. The family struggle was finished. The enemies outside the town were not. Kai Ren remained home until his wounds healed. He trained with the Voidshade Panther every night. He learned to extend veil skin to his clothing and weapons. He reduced the delay between shadow passage and reappearing. He practiced fighting while partially transformed so that he would not reveal the spirit publicly unless necessary. The Panther would remain his hidden weapon. When the family holiday ended, Kai Ren prepared to return to Radiant City. Before leaving, Patriarch Kai Sheng called him into the main hall. The old man placed the tournament invitation on the table. The Scarlet Crown clan invited our younger generation to its martial tournament. Kai Ren opened the document. The clan intended to use the event to recover its reputation. 3 representatives would face Kai Ren. Large private bets would be allowed. The Scarlet Crown betting hall would accept public wagers. Patriarch Kai Sheng studied him. Should we refuse? Kai Ren remembered the wealth, humiliation, and political damage the original enemy family had suffered in his first life only after it was too late to matter. This time, he would begin earlier. No, he said, we will attend. The Grand Spirit Auction opened 1 week before the tournament. Patriarch Kai Sheng brought Kai Ren and Elder Kai En to Radiant City. The Patriarch believed the boy would observe quietly and learn how noble families handled money. Kai Ren entered with 5 interspatial rings, 2 golden cauldron account tokens, and access to more wealth than the Patriarch knew existed. The auction hall rose 4 stories around a circular stage. Merchant families occupied the lower seats. Aristocratic clans sat in private boxes above. The Scarlet Crown clan controlled one side of the 3rd floor. The Golden Cauldron Association occupied the other. Madame Huaying greeted Kai Ren with a small nod but did not invite him into her box. That was deliberate. The less attention placed on their connection, the easier it would be to hide his purchases. The auctioneer opened with weapons and ordinary medicinal roots. Kai Ren ignored them. The first item that mattered was a sealed jade case containing 10 meridian cleansing pills. The auctioneer described how the new medicine repaired damaged channels and improved future cultivation. The starting price was 80,000 spirit coins. 3 families immediately bid. The price rose to 150,000, then 240,000. A military household purchased the case for 420,000. Patriarch Kai Sheng sighed. 10 pills cost more than one of our herb fields. Kai Ren took a bottle from his ring and placed it on the table. 100 pills. The Patriarch opened it, saw the same green markings, and almost dropped the bottle. Where did you get this? My master. You carry 40 herb fields inside your sleeve. Approximately. The next case contained 10 soul-gathering pellets. Because they increased cultivation without leaving heavy residue, the bidding climbed from 200,000 to 1,100,000 spirit coins. Kai Ren did not raise his hand. He had several thousand stored through the association. A scarlet body tempering pill followed. The starting price was 500,000. 2 warrior clans fought over it until the price reached 2,800,000. Then the hall darkened. A single 9-breath recovery pill appeared inside a crystal vial. The auctioneer explained that the medicine had stabilized a dying mercenary before the 9th breath. The starting price was 1 million. The governor's household bid 3 million. A merchant guild offered 4. The Scarlet Crown clan entered at 5 million because Elder Yan Ming wanted the city to see that his family could still purchase the finest medicine. Governor Su Han's representative ended the contest at 8,600,000 spirit coins. Patriarch Kai Sheng stared at Kai Ren again. That pill also came from your master. Yes. How many do you have? Enough that I would not pay 8 million for one. The Patriarch leaned back and stopped asking questions. The auction of Kai Ren's formulas accomplished exactly what he wanted. Every major family now understood the value of the Golden Cauldron Association. The association gained prestige. Kai Ren's profit share increased. The Stonecrest Patriarch finally understood why Madame Huaying treated a 13-year-old as an equal. After the pills, the auction moved to rare materials and artifacts. A jar of golden beast marrow appeared first. The auctioneer claimed it came from an unknown ape creature and had lost most of its energy. The starting price was 60,000 spirit coins. Kai Ren recognized refined Mountain King essence. It could awaken dormant blood inside a monkey-type spirit. A collector raised the price to 90,000. Kai Ren bid 120. The collector stopped at 180. Kai Ren purchased the jar for 190,000 spirit coins. The room considered it an expensive gamble. He considered it cheap. A damaged cloak covered with dull gray scales appeared next. 3 sections had torn, and the auction house believed the defensive formation was ruined. The starting price was 100,000. Kai Ren knew the scales belonged to a mist turtle. Once repaired, the cloak could hide spiritual fluctuations and block an attack from a gold rank cultivator. He purchased it for 430,000. It would protect his father during future clan travel. An old map followed. The parchment contained faded lines and no recognizable location. The starting price was 10,000. Only Kai Ren bid. A merchant raised the price as a joke. Kai Ren allowed him to reach 50,000, then offered 65,000. The merchant withdrew. The map reacted to shadow poison. Kai Ren stored it for later study. He then purchased 2 moonsteel bracelets for 320,000 each, one for his mother and one for Kai Mei. A set of defensive formation plates cost 1,400,000. Patriarch Kai Sheng watched every number recorded by the auction clerk. Your father's branch could live for several generations on what you have spent. They will live longer because of what I purchased. The next item was a cracked black staff. 4 servants carried it onto the stage. No appraiser had identified the metal. It could not be melted. Soul Force did not activate it. It was too heavy for ordinary fighters and too short to serve as a proper spear. The starting price was 300,000. Kai Ren raised his hand. Yan Zhen saw him from the Scarlet Crown box and immediately bid 400,000. Kai Ren offered 500. Yan Zhen raised it to 700. The price climbed past 1 million. Patriarch Kai Sheng leaned closer. Why do you want a broken rod? It is not broken. What is it? I do not know completely. That is the least comforting answer you could give. Yan Zhen bid 3 million. Kai Ren offered 3,500,000. Elder Yan Ming watched from the Scarlet Crown box. Let the poor clan's boy waste his new money, he said. He instructed Yan Zhen to continue. The price reached 6 million. Madame Huaying did not interfere. This purchase needed to appear personal. At 7,500,000, Yan Zhen finally hesitated. Kai Ren raised the bid to 7,800,000. The Scarlet Crown clan withdrew. When the staff reached Kai Ren's hands, the second chamber inside his soul palace trembled. A distant, rebellious presence responded. Dust fell from the weapon's surface. Kai Ren glimpsed ancient markings, clouds, mountains, a crowned monkey holding a pillar against the sky. He stored the staff without revealing his reaction. Beautiful crimson crystal appeared later. Fire moved inside it like liquid. Elder Yan Ming leaned forward. Kai Ren remembered the object. The crystal contained unstable fire poison. In his previous life, it exploded during a Scarlet Crown cultivation ceremony and crippled 2 elders. The starting price was 2 million spirit coins. Kai Ren bid immediately. Yan Ming countered at 3 million. Kai Ren offered 4. The price climbed to 10 million. Patriarch Kai Sheng whispered, "Do you want this too?" "No." "Then why are you bidding?" "To make him buy it." Kai Ren continued until the price reached 20 million. Yan Ming believed Kai Ren had recognized a hidden treasure. He offered 21 million. Kai Ren stopped. The Scarlet Crown clan purchased the poisoned crystal. Yan Zhen smiled triumphantly. Kai Ren smiled back. The most important item appeared near the end. 10 attendants carried a black jade vessel onto the stage. It was low and wide with 10 carved beast mouths around its rim. The inside contained no place for flame. This vessel was recovered from a collapsed spirit shrine, the auctioneer explained. It does not refine medicine, store soul force, or strengthen formations. Several appraisers believe it was used in ancient burial rituals. The starting price was 10 million spirit coins. Most guests lost interest. The Scarlet Crown clan bid because the object looked old. A collector from the capital offered 15 million. Madame Huaying raised the bid to 20 million. Kai Ren remained seated. That was the plan. Everyone would believe the Golden Cauldron Association wanted the vessel for research. No one would connect it to him. The collector offered 30 million. Huaying answered with 40. The price rose through 50, 60, and 70 million. Patriarch Kai Sheng watched the association box. What does that vessel do? I do not know, Kai Ren said. This time the lie sounded natural. A masked bidder on the first floor entered at 80 million. Kai Ren recognized night serpent movement beneath the man's robe. The guild knew the vessel was important, though perhaps not why. Huaying offered 90 million. The masked bidder reached 100. The entire hall became silent. Elder Yan Ming withdrew. The collector from the capital stopped. Huaying raised the price to 110 million. The masked bidder hesitated, then offered 115. Huaying ended the contest at 120 million spirit coins. The auctioneer struck the bell. The black vessel belonged to the Golden Cauldron Association. Most of Radiant City believed Madame Huaying had purchased an unknown relic for association research. Only a few people knew she delivered it through a hidden passage to Kai Ren that night. Before he left the auction, Kai Ren received his newest profit statement. The public sale of pills during the event had increased association orders so sharply that his personal share now exceeded the entire price of the vessel. The alchemy knowledge everyone once dismissed had paid for the treasure. Several hours later, an explosion shook the Scarlet Crown estate. The Crimson Crystal had reacted with the clan's fire formation. The official explanation blamed a furnace accident. Kai Ren stood in the underground chamber of a golden cauldron warehouse and placed one hand on the black jade vessel. The academy bet had proven his talent. The alchemy formulas had purchased influence. The auction had given him the tool that would change the strength of every person beside him. Now he needed spirit stones, not one kind, every kind his friends could use. The artifact was called the 10-Spirit Evolution Vessel. Its 10 carved mouths held 10 compatible spirit beasts at a time. The spirits would enter a sealed space, consume one another, and merge. Sometimes a stronger spirit survived. Sometimes all 10 disappeared. The process improved growth potential, not merely current rank. That distinction mattered. A silver rank spirit with divine growth could eventually surpass an obsidian rank spirit with poor growth. Most merchants valued only present strength. Kai Ren valued the future. He visited Radiant City's largest spirit market with golden cauldron guards. Rows of shops displayed captured spirits sealed inside polished spirit stones. The stones were containers. The spirit inside each one was the true purchase. Some stones glowed with flame. Others contained moving shadows, tiny roars, wings, claws, shells, or flickering eyes. At the first shop, Kai Ren purchased every earthaline tiger and heavy predator spirit. At the second, he bought winged leopards, flame panthers, wind cats, and fast hunting beasts. At the third, he purchased thunderbirds, lightning serpents, shield tortoises, water deer, iron bulls, healing moths, and hundreds of support spirits ignored by noble fighters. Only after that did he begin buying monkey-type spirits for himself. The first merchant placed rows of stones on a table. These are silver rank nightmare spirits, 60,000 spirit coins for the group. The gold rank spirits are 300,000. Kai Ren purchased both, then he bought every compatible spirit in the shop. The first day cost 4 million spirit coins. The second cost 6 million. By the fifth day, he had purchased more than 12,000 stones from Radiant City. Golden Cauldron agents traveled to neighboring towns. Within 2 weeks, the association warehouses contained more than 30,000 captured spirits. 6,000 were monkey-type spirits, 5,000 were tiger and heavy fighter spirits, 4,000 were winged leopards, flame cats, and wind predators, 3,000 carried lightning or storm attributes, 2,000 were defensive tortoises, bears, and armored beasts. The remainder included water, healing, poison, scouting, and support spirits for different Soul Palace forms. The total cost exceeded 26 million spirit coins. Madame Hua Ying entered the warehouse and stared at the glowing rows. You purchased enough spirits to equip an army. One day Radiant City may need one. She looked at him for several seconds. You speak as though you know something I do not. Kai Ren turned toward the stones. I know cities fall when their people remain weak. He moved the 10-Spirit Evolution Vessel into a sealed underground chamber. Duan Wei and Bo Chen returned briefly from their towns after receiving his message. The 3 commoner students also came. Lin Yue remained inside the Thunder Sanctuary, so Kai Ren selected a lightning spirit for her separately. Su Lion recorded several external runes but was not allowed to activate the vessel. Kai Ren explained the process. 10 compatible spirits enter. The vessel forces them to devour, merge, and refine one another. Sometimes one stronger spirit survives, sometimes all 10 disappear. Bo Chen looked at the 30,000 stones. So most of our money may vanish. Yes. That should have been explained before I helped carry them. The first experiment used 10 common growth stonetail apes. Dark light filled the vessel. The spirits appeared inside a small spiritual world and attacked one another. Their forms dissolved, reformed, and merged. Several minutes later, the light vanished. All 10 had been destroyed. Bo Chen stared at the empty vessel. That was expensive. It was expected. You expected failure. I expected information. Kai Ren adjusted 3 runes. The second group produced 1 refined growth stonetail ape. The third failed. The fourth created another refined spirit. 10 refined spirits entered next. All disappeared. 3 days, the underground chamber filled with flashes of light and disappointed silence. Bo Chen began naming failed groups. One became the 10 Unfortunate Brothers. Another became the Brief Alliance of the Doomed. Duan Wei told him to stop. Bo Chen continued. Kai Ren never lost patience. Every failure revealed how the vessel balanced bloodline element, physical form, and will. He changed placement order. He adjusted soul force flow. He added purified beast blood. The success rate improved. 10 common spirits could now produce 1 refined spirit reliably. 10 refined spirits sometimes produced an excellent growth spirit. 10 excellent spirits occasionally produced an extraordinary spirit. crossing from extraordinary to divine remained extremely difficult. Kai Ren did not refine every category the same way. Duanwei possessed an Earth Heart Soul Palace. For him, Kai Ren selected Abyss Tigers, Stoneclaw Tigers, Ironback Tigers, and several rare Thunder Earth Tigers. The early batches produced thick-skinned but slow spirits. Kai Ren removed those with poor movement and continued refining the ones that carried both earth pressure and explosive strength. After hundreds of stones and several failures, an extraordinary growth Abyss Tiger emerged. Kai Ren combined it with 9 compatible extraordinary spirits. The vessel shook. When the light faded, a black tiger with stone-colored stripes stood inside. Lightning moved between its claws. Its growth potential had reached divine grade. It could strengthen Duanwei's body, control ground pressure, and later evolve into a mountain-breaking Abyss Tiger. Duanwei stared at the stone. This should belong to a major clan heir. It belongs to the person whose palace matches it. That is not what I meant. I know. Bo Chen required something completely different. His palace contained wind and flame. Kai Ren rejected heavy beasts and selected scarlet leopards, gale panthers, ashwing cats, and fire predators with strong legs. The first extraordinary result was fast but unable to tolerate flame. The second possessed fire but weak bones. The third line created a scarlet wind leopard with dark red scales, narrow wings, and wind flowing around its paws. Kai Ren refined it with 9 compatible extraordinary spirits. The vessel consumed nearly all his soul force. When the process ended, the scarlet wind leopard opened golden eyes, divine growth. Its future abilities included aerial movement, flame-coated claws, wind acceleration, and a burst technique suited perfectly to Bo Chen. Bo Chen held the stone with both hands. It has wings. Yes. It is beautiful. The leopard growled inside the stone. It also hates you, Duanwei said. That means we understand each other. Lin Yue's Violet Thunder Phoenix art required a lightning spirit with strong channel control. Kai Ren refined thunder cranes, storm hawks, violet serpents, and moonlight falcons in separate compatible lines. The process produced a divine growth violet storm rock. Its dark feathers carried purple lightning. Unlike a simple attack beast, it could spread lightning across its wings without allowing the energy to damage its host. Kai Ren sealed the stone and sent it to the Thunder Sanctuary through Vice Headmaster Song. The 3 commoner students received different spirits matched to their roles. The Metal-aligned student received an extraordinary Ironhorn Guardian Bull specialized in defense and formation breaking. The Water-aligned student received an extraordinary Moonriver Serpent capable of binding enemies and producing healing mist. The Wood-aligned student received a rare Jade Mantis with poison resistance, cutting arms, and scouting senses. Kai Ren set aside a Moonshield Deer for Su Lion because it could strengthen barriers and detect formation disturbances. She accepted the stone but did not integrate it yet. Her family needed to examine the contract. Only after every friend's path had been considered did Kai Ren begin the monkey line for himself. He refined red-armed monkeys, stone-tail apes, blue-eared baboons, iron-jaw macaques, mountain monkeys, mist gibbons, and several rare staff-wielding spirits. Thousands disappeared. Some results were powerful but stupid. Others were fast but physically weak. Several possessed excellent growth yet showed no reaction to the black staff. Kai Ren kept refining. After 5 days, he accumulated 60 extraordinary growth fighter-type monkey spirits. He separated them into 6 balanced groups. The first group produced an extraordinary war ape but failed to reach divine growth. The second disappeared completely. The third produced a divine stone-crowned baboon. Its strength was impressive, but the black staff remained silent. Kai Ren stored it for the Stonecrest family. The fourth failed. The fifth produced a divine mist gibbon with illusion abilities. Still, the staff did not react. Only the 6th group remained. Kai Ren placed the jar of Mountain King marrow from the auction beside the vessel. Among the final 10 stones was a small azure stone monkey that most merchants had considered worthless. Its current rank was low. Its fur was mostly dull white with uneven black mineral patches along its forearms, crown, lower legs, and tail. Its body was thinner than the other spirits. Its golden eyes, however, had remained open since the moment Kai Ren first saw it. He placed the 10 extraordinary spirits into the vessel and poured in the golden marrow. The artifact activated. Golden light burst through the chamber. The 10 spirits fought inside the sealed world. 9 were devoured. The small monkey remained. Instead of attacking wildly, it sat in the center and watched the others disappear. A deep laugh shook the room. Cracks spread across the walls. The black staff flew from Kai Ren's storage ring and struck the floor beside the vessel. The monkey grabbed it. Golden clouds appeared beneath its feet. A colossal shadow rose behind the small beast. For one instant, everyone saw an armored monkey wearing a broken crown before shattered heavenly gates. Ancient runes appeared across the vessel. Growth potential, divine. Bloodline, unmeasured. Dormant inheritance, Sun Wukong, great sage equal to heaven. The azure stone monkey scratched its shoulder, looked at Kai Ren and yawned. Bo Chen stared. That is your divine spirit. Yes. It looks angry and sleepy at the same time. The monkey showed him its teeth. Bo Chen stepped behind Duan Wei. Kai Ren opened the second chamber of his soul palace. The monkey resisted immediately. Golden energy struck his consciousness like a mountain. A wild presence entered his mind. Why should I submit? Kai Ren faced it within the palace, because heaven will try to chain you again. The monkey's golden eyes narrowed, and I plan to break those chains. The beast smiled. The contract formed. White fur spread across Kai Ren's shoulders, chest, and upper arms, while sleek black mineral fur wrapped his forearms, lower legs, crown, and tail. His face reshaped into that of a refined, youthful, divine monkey, handsome and sharp rather than savage. Thin pale gold tattoos ignited beneath his golden eyes and flowed across his cheeks, shoulders, forearms, and upper chest like ancient celestial seals. A long white and black tail formed behind him, ending in a dark stone-textured tip. The black staff entered the second soul palace chamber with the beast. Kai Ren tested its early abilities. Sage eyes revealed weaknesses in movement, barriers, and energy flow. Cloud Step created small platforms beneath his feet, allowing him to change direction in midair. Mountain Palm concentrated enormous weight into a simple strike. Heavenweight Field increased gravity within a limited area. Twin Eclipse created one golden sphere and one black sphere. Separately, they pulled and repelled spiritual energy. When joined, they produced a violent explosion. Wild Mimicry copied physical movements after observing them. The black staff could alter weight and extend several meters. The Great Sage Bloodline remained mostly sealed. Using even a small portion consumed tremendous soul force. The restriction was useful. Kai Ren wanted power he could control. Duan Wei integrated the Divine Abyss Tiger. Black stripes appeared across his arms and earth pressure gathered around his feet. Bo Chen integrated the Divine Scarlet Wind Leopard. Red markings spread across his skin. His eyes became feline and narrow spiritual wings formed behind his shoulders. Neither received a monkey spirit. Only Kai Ren possessed the azure stone monkey. After the contract stabilized, Duan Wei and Bo Chen returned home again to train privately. The commoner students also left. Lin Yue remained inside the Thunder Sanctuary. Su Lion returned to the governor's estate. None of Kai Ren's friends would attend the Scarlet Crown tournament beside him. The refining process ended with several divine growth spirits, numerous extraordinary spirits, thousands of failures, and enough remaining stones to strengthen the Stonecrest family later. Kai Ren did not sell the divine spirits. If Radiant City learned he could create them, every great family and hidden guild would hunt him. Publicly, Kai Ren possessed one strange, unimpressive monkey. The tournament would make that ignorance expensive. The Scarlet Crown Martial Field stood in the northern district. Thousands filled the seats. Patriarchs occupied raised platforms. Merchants shouted odds. Clan guards controlled the entrances. The Scarlet Crown clan sat beneath red banners at the eastern side. The Stonecrest family occupied a smaller section opposite them. Kai Ren attended with Patriarch Kai Sheng, Elder Kai En, his father, and several clan representatives. Madame Hua Ying sat beside them with golden cauldron guards. Duan Wei and Bo Chen were hundreds of miles away. Lin Yue remained inside the Thunder Sanctuary. Su Lion did not attend publicly. Kai Ren stood alone for the main challenge. That was exactly how he wanted it. Elder Yan Ming managed the Scarlet Crown bets. He believed the Stonecrest family had come to lose money and face. The first opponent was Yan Zhen. A private wager of 50 million spirit coins was placed between the families. Madame Hua Ying guaranteed the Stonecrest payment. The public betting board displayed several options. Yan Zhen to win paid 1.3. Kai Ren to win paid 1.5. Yan Zhen to defeat Kai Ren in one exchange paid 1.9. Kai Ren to land the first decisive knockdown in one exchange paid 11-1. The betting hall limited that final wager to 6 million spirit coins. Kai Ren placed the full amount. Elder Yan Ming had instructed Yan Zhen to delay his victory for at least 20 exchanges. The clan wanted the contest to appear fair. Yan Zhen entered the arena without transforming. He had already reached silver rank and possessed a scarlet black lion spirit, but he believed Kai Ren's unknown monkey could not threaten him before integration. Kai Ren stepped onto the stone field carrying no visible weapon. Yan Zhen smiled. You should have apologized when you had the chance. Kai Ren looked toward the betting board. The final wagers closed. The judge lowered one hand. Yan Zhen moved first. He did not use a killing technique. He stepped forward with a wide punch, intending to push Kai Ren back and begin the 20 exchange performance. Kai Ren opened the second chamber. The azure stone monkey merged with him. White fur spread across his shoulders, chest, and upper arms, while black mineral fur wrapped his forearms, lower legs, crown, and tail. His face became that of a handsome, youthful, divine monkey with a short, elegant muzzle and intelligent golden eyes. Thin pale gold tattoos shone beneath his eyes and continued across his cheeks, shoulders, forearms, and upper chest. A long white and black tail with a dark mineral tip moved behind him. The transformation was lean and restrained beside the enormous lion, tiger, and dragon spirits favored by noble clans. Laughter spread through the arena. Yan Zhen's fist came closer. The monkey scratched its ear through Kai Ren's movement. Kai Ren stepped inside the punch. Mountain palm. His open hand struck Yan Zhen across the face. The impact sounded like a stone pillar breaking. Yan Zhen's body spun through the air. He struck the arena floor, bounced once, and rolled more than 10 meters. The judge stared. The betting officials stared. The first exchange was complete. Kai Ren had delivered the decisive knockdown. His 6 million wager paid 66 million. The crowd erupted. Yan Zhen pushed himself up. Blood ran from his mouth. His left cheek had swollen instantly. He had not been knocked outside the boundary, and he remained conscious. The fight continued. Humiliation burned through every instruction his elder had given him. Since you asked for death, I will give it to you. His soul palace opened. Scarlet energy erupted around him. Merged with the scarlet black lion, his body expanded. Black red fur covered his arms and back. A burning mane formed around his neck. Claws replaced his fingernails. His teeth lengthened. The pressure of a high-grade silver spirit filled the arena. The audience stopped laughing. Yan Zhen charged. His first claw released 3 red arcs. Kai Ren crossed his arms. The arc struck and cut through the fur on his forearms. He slid backward. Yan Zhen followed with a shoulder charge. Kai Ren used cloud step. A tiny golden cloud formed beneath his foot. He changed direction in midair. The lion passed beneath him. Yan Zhen twisted before Kai Ren landed. A tail of flame swept across the air. Kai Ren raised one knee. The flame tail struck his leg and threw him sideways. He landed on one hand, rotated, and returned to his feet. Yan Zhen roared. Scarlet fire spread over the arena. Lion furnace. Flames formed a circle around Kai Ren. The heat removed most routes of escape. Yan Zhen entered the circle from the front. He attacked with alternating claws. Kai Ren blocked the first with his forearm. The second cut his shoulder. The third passed near his throat. Kai Ren leaned back and used his tail to steady himself. Yan Zhen drove a knee toward his stomach. Kai Ren caught the leg. Yan Zhen's other foot left the ground. Kai Ren attempted mountain palm against the chest. The lion crossed both arms and absorbed the strike. He still flew backward 3 steps. Yan Zhen dug his claws into the arena to stop. The crowd shouted. Lean white and black monkey had forced back the scarlet black lion. Yan Zhen gathered more fire. The lion furnace tight. The flames became too high to jump through safely. Kai Ren looked at the ground. Sage eyes revealed the spiritual roots feeding the ring. 4 points connected the flames beneath the stone. Yan Zhen rushed again. Kai Ren met him instead of retreating. The lion swung high. Kai Ren ducked. He struck the first energy point with his heel. A quarter of the flame ring flickered. Yan Zhen attacked low. Kai Ren jumped over the claw, created a cloud beneath one foot, and changed direction. His staff appeared from the Soul Palace. It was no longer than his forearm. He struck the second point. Another section of flame collapsed. Yan Zhen understood. He placed himself between Kai Ren and the remaining points. You will not escape. Kai Ren smiled. I do not need to. Yan Zhen launched his strongest charge. The scarlet black lion's image formed around him. Fire concentrated along both claws. Kai Ren shortened the staff and allowed the attack to come. At the final instant, he increased the weapon's weight. The staff struck the arena. The stone beneath Yan Zhen's leading foot collapsed. His balance broke. Kai Ren moved along the outside of the claw. Mountain palm struck the same swollen side of Yan Zhen's face. The lion's head snapped sideways. Kai Ren followed with the staff against the ribs. The weapon extended. Yan Zhen flew across the arena. He tried to stop before the boundary. Kai Ren activated heavenweight field. Gravity doubled around Yan Zhen. His feet struck the ground too early. The momentum carried him over the boundary line. He crashed into the protective wall outside the field. The judge raised one hand. Yan Zhen has left the arena. Kai Ren wins. For several breaths, nobody spoke. Then the Stonecrest section erupted. Patriarch Kai Sheng gripped his chair. Kai Ren's father stared at the transformed boy in the arena. Madame Huaying calmly collected the private wager. Elder Yan Ming's face became dark. The Scarlet Crown clan had lost 50 million privately. The public betting hall had also lost heavily because of Kai Ren's 11-to-1 wager. Yan Zhen's engagement to Lin Yue was dissolved according to the public agreement. He lay outside the field, conscious enough to understand every word. Kai Ren released the monkey transformation and returned to the Stonecrest platform. Patriarch Kai Sheng looked at him. You possess a divine growth spirit. Kai Ren sat down. It has potential. You just slapped the Scarlet Crown heir across an arena. He was standing too close. Elder Yan Ming examined the betting accounts. The public wagers had cost the Scarlet Crown clan an additional 6 million after all payouts. He had believed the crowd would compensate for the private loss. Instead, Kai Ren had taken money from both sides. Yan Ming refused to stop. The first result was caused by Yan Zhen's carelessness, he announced. The Scarlet Crown clan offers a second match. Their next representative entered. His name was Yan Ning. He was a 5-star silver rank spirit master, older and more experienced than Yan Zhen. His bound spirit was a sacred flame bear. A second private wager was placed, 100 million spirit coins. Madame Hua Ying accepted. Yan Ning stepped onto the field. He did not speak. Unlike Yan Zhen, he had watched the entire first battle. He understood Cloud Step, Mountain Palm, the changing staff, and the gravity field. When the judge lowered his hand, Yan Ning transformed immediately. His body expanded. Red gold fur covered his chest and arms. A broad bare head formed around his face. Flame burned along both shoulders. He struck the ground. A wave of fire traveled across the arena. Kai Ren merged with the azure stone monkey and jumped. A cloud formed beneath his foot. Yan Ning had expected it. He released a second wave through the air. The fire struck Kai Ren's side. He spun, landed near the boundary, and rolled. Burn marks appeared along his clothes. The audience shouted. Yan Ning did not chase blindly. He moved to the center of the arena and maintained distance. The monkey's palm is strongest at close range, he said. The staff needs room to expand. Your cloud movement consumes soul force. I will burn the entire field until you have nowhere to step. He slammed both hands down. Sacred furnace ground. Flames spread through cracks in the arena. The field became a grid of burning lines. Kai Ren ran between them. Yan Ning lifted one arm. Fire pillars erupted from the nearest cracks. Kai Ren turned. A pillar struck his back and threw him forward. He used the staff to stop his fall. Yan Ning charged only after Kai Ren lost balance. The bare shoulder hit Kai Ren's chest. Kai Ren flew across the field. He struck the ground and slid. Madame Hua Ying watched without changing expression. Patriarch Kai Sheng leaned forward. Kai Ren's father gripped the railing. The Scarlet Crown audience began cheering. Yan Ning approached slowly. You wanted the entire city to believe the monkey was powerful. Kai Ren rose and wiped blood from his lip. It is. Then why are you running? Kai Ren looked toward the betting board. Live wagers had opened. The crowd placed money on Yan Ning. The Scarlet Crown odds shifted with every exchange. Kai Ren needed them confident. He stepped forward and attacked. Yan Ning met the staff with both arms. The weapon struck the bear's forearm armor and rebounded. Kai Ren shortened it and swung toward the knee. Yan Ning lifted his leg and brought one heel down. The staff struck the ground. The bear's claw came from the side. Kai Ren blocked. The impact sent him through a fire line. Flames covered his sleeve. He rolled to extinguish them. Yan Ning did not give him time to rise. He leaped. The massive bear descended with both fists. Kai Ren used Cloud Step and moved aside at the last instant. The fist struck the arena. Stone exploded. Kai Ren landed behind Yan Ning and used Mountain Palm. Yan Ning had prepared for it. He turned his shoulder and gathered flame armor over the impact point. Kai Ren's palm struck. The bear moved 2 steps but did not fall. Yan Ning countered with an elbow. Kai Ren blocked with the staff. His arms went numb. Yan Ning seized the weapon. He tried to pull Kai Ren forward. Kai Ren reduced the staff's weight until it became almost weightless. Yan Ning's own strength carried him backward. Kai Ren stepped in. A knee struck the bear's stomach. Yan Ning tightened his muscles and trapped the leg under one arm. He threw Kai Ren. Kai Ren rotated in the air and landed, but a fire pillar erupted beneath him. The flame lifted him. Yan Ning charged through the fire. One claw hit Kai Ren's chest. Blood appeared. Kai Ren flew to the edge of the field. The live betting board closed. The majority of new money had entered on Yan Ning. Kai Ren stopped acting. Sage eyes opened fully. The golden pupils saw every spiritual root beneath the arena. Yan Ning's sacred furnace ground connected his beast spirit to the fire lines. Whenever he created a pillar, soul force moved from his right foot through one specific crack. Kai Ren stood. Yan Ning sensed the change. He raised both arms and formed a sphere of fire above his head. Sacred bear descent. He jumped. The sphere surrounded his body. He became a falling mass of flame. Kai Ren ran toward the impact point. The audience thought he had lost his mind. At the final instant, Kai Ren activated heavenweight field. Gravity increased around Yan Ning. The falling bear accelerated beyond his control. Yan Ning tried to change direction. He could not. Kai Ren used Cloud Step once and moved sideways. Yan Ning struck the arena. The impact created a crater more than 10 meters wide. Flames shot into the sky. Stone and dust covered the field. Kai Ren avoided the center, but the heat burned his back and shoulder. For a moment, the crowd saw nothing. Then the dust cleared. Yan Ning lay inside the crater. The increased gravity still pressed against him. He tried to push up. His arms shook. Kai Ren stood at the edge. Yan Ning roared and forced one knee beneath him. Kai Ren extended the staff into the crater. The weapon struck the ground beside Yan Ning. Its weight increased. The fractured stone collapsed around the bear's legs. Yan Ning pulled free and climbed. Kai Ren jumped down. The bear swung. Kai Ren ducked. The claw passed above him. Kai Ren struck the spiritual root beside Yan Ning's right foot. The remaining fire lines went dark. Yan Ning's connection to the arena broke. Kai Ren used Mountain Palm against the same point where the flame armor had already cracked. The strike entered the bear's chest. Yan Ning flew across the crater and hit the opposite wall. His transformation flickered. He attempted to stand. Kai Ren activated heavenweight field a second time. The weakened spirit master fell face first. The judge entered the crater and counted. Yan Ning could not rise before the final count. Kai Ren wins. The crowd remained silent. Many had believed Yan Ning was dominating. Even the Scarlet Crown clan had believed it. Kai Ren climbed from the crater with burned clothing and blood across his chest. He looked exhausted. That appearance was useful. Elder Yan Ming paid the 100 million private wager. His authority inside the clan had already begun collapsing. The first 2 matches had cost 150 million public betting losses and the engagement. He had 1 chance left. This final match, Yan Ming announced, will decide everything. The Scarlet Crown clan's 3rd representative entered. Yan Zio. He was not a student of Silver Moon Institute. He had trained under an outer clan master for years. His cultivation had reached 1-star gold rank. His bound spirit was a scarlet dragon eagle. Red scales covered the spirit's chest. Wide wings carried dragon-like patterns. Its growth potential was royal grade, far below Kai Ren's monkey but currently much stronger. Yan Ming offered 300 million spirit coins. Madame Huang accepted. Before entering the arena, Yan Zio swallowed 2 beast spirit strengthening pills. The pills forced his contracted spirit beyond its normal limit. The dragon eagle aura surged close to 3-star gold rank. The crowd erupted. Even Patriarch Kai Sheng stood. This is no longer a fair tournament. Madame Hua Ying looked at Kai Ren. You may refuse. The Scarlet Crown clan has already lost face. Kai Ren studied Yan Zio's aura. The pills increased strength, speed, and spiritual output. They also made the connection between spirit and host unstable. I accept. His father grabbed his sleeve. You are silver rank. I know. He is gold rank and strengthened. Yes. Then why do you sound calm? Because he thinks rank is the same as victory. The judge reinforced the barrier around the arena. The stone field had been repaired enough to continue, but cracks remained from the second match. Yan Zio entered. Red wings unfolded behind him. His arms became scaled. Claws formed over his hands. His eyes turned narrow and golden. The dragon eagle transformation was complete. Kai Ren entered from the opposite side. He merged with the azure stone monkey. The pale gold celestial tattoos returned beneath his golden eyes and spread across his cheeks, shoulders, forearms, and upper chest. White fur covered his chest and shoulders while black mineral fur wrapped his forearms, crown, lower legs, and tail. The long white and black tail moved behind him. The black staff appeared in his right hand. The crowd no longer laughed at the monkey. Udge lowered his hand. Yan Zio vanished from the ground. A shockwave struck the arena. Kai Ren looked up. Yan Zio had already reached the barrier's upper edge. He folded one wing and dived. The first claw came too quickly for Cloud's step. Kai Ren raised the staff. The claw struck. The impact drove Kai Ren to one knee and cracked the stone beneath him. Yan Zio's second claw came from the side. Kai Ren shortened the staff and rolled. The claw cut through the fur along his shoulder. Yan Zio rose again. 3 red feathers detached from his wing. They became blades. Kai Ren ran. The first feather struck behind him. The second cut his thigh. The third changed direction in the air. Kai Ren used Cloud Step and twisted sideways. The blade passed close to his neck. Yan Zio attacked from above again. Kai Ren swung the staff. Yan Zio caught it between 2 scaled claws. He lifted Kai Ren from the ground, then he threw him across the arena. Kai Ren struck the barrier and fell. The gold rank pressure was real. The strengthening pills made every attack heavier than Yan Ning's. Kai Ren stood. Yan Zio spread both wings. Scarlet feather rain. Dozens of feather blades filled the air. Kai Ren extended the staff and rotated it. The weapon became a dark circle before him. Feathers struck the spinning metal. Sparks filled the field. Several passed through. One cut Kai Ren's ribs. Another entered his upper arm. He continued rotating until the final feather fell. Yan Zio had already moved behind him. A wing struck Kai Ren's back. Kai Ren flew forward. Yan Zio seized the tail of the monkey transformation and pulled. Kai Ren turned with the force, shortened the staff, and struck Yan Zio's jaw. The dragon eagle's head moved slightly. Yan Zio answered with a knee to Kai Ren's stomach. Kai Ren lost his breath. A claw struck his chest and threw him down. Yan Zio landed on him with one foot. The stone cracked. The audience shouted for the judge to stop the match. Kai Ren caught Yan Zio's ankle. Mountain palm released through his other hand. The strike hit the knee joint. Yan Zio's leg bent. Kai Ren rolled free. The dragon eagle retreated one step. Kai Ren used Cloud Step and appeared near his left wing. The staff extended toward the joint. Yan Zio folded the wing and blocked with the outer scales. The staff struck but failed to break them. Yan Zio twisted his body. The folded wing became a blade. Kai Ren leaned back. The edge cut across his cheek. Blood ran across one glowing pale gold cheek tattoo. Yan Zio looked at the wound. You are slower than I expected. Kai Ren opened sage eyes. The world changed. Soul force roots became visible. The strengthening pills pushed energy into Yan Zio's wings through 2 swollen channels along the back. The left channel was more unstable. Kai Ren needed to damage it without allowing Yan Zio to understand his goal. He attacked the right wing first. The staff extended. Yan Zio blocked. Kai Ren shortened it and struck the ribs. Yan Zio absorbed the blow and countered with one claw. Kai Ren accepted the cut along his forearm to move closer. Mountain Palm struck the right shoulder. Yan Zio flew 2 steps and spread his wings. The right wing remained stable. He believed Kai Ren had chosen the stronger side by mistake. Yan Zio rose again. He began circling above the arena instead of diving directly. Kai Ren followed with his eyes. The Dragon Eagle released waves of red fire from each wing beat. The first wave crossed the field. Kai Ren jumped. The second came higher. He ducked in midair by pushing against a cloud. The third wave came from the side. Kai Ren extended the staff to the ground and swung around it. The fire passed beneath him. Yan Zio accelerated. He attacked during the rotation. One claw struck Kai Ren's staff hand. The weapon flew away. The other claw cut across Kai Ren's back. Kai Ren hit the ground. Yan Zio landed between him and the staff. You have lost your weapon. Kai Ren stood slowly. The staff shrank. It rolled across the stone. Yan Zio stepped on it. The weapon increased its weight. Yan Zio's foot sank into the cracked arena. Kai Ren smiled. The Dragon Eagle looked down. Kai Ren activated Heavenweight Field. Gravity pressed around Yan Zio's body. The cracked stone beneath the trapped foot collapsed. Yan Zio lost balance. Kai Ren used Cloud Step and crossed the distance. Mountain Palm struck the left side of Yan Zio's back. Exactly over the swollen channel, the spiritual root ruptured. The left wing flickered. Yan Zio roared and struck backward. A claw entered Kai Ren's shoulder. Kai Ren refused to release the palm. He sent a second pulse into the damaged channel. The left wing collapsed. Yan Zio turned and threw Kai Ren away. Kai Ren hit the ground, rolled, and rose on one knee. His left arm hung weakly. Blood covered his shoulder. Yan Zio pulled his foot free and took to the air using only the right wing. He could still fly, but his balance had changed. The Scarlet Crown audience became anxious. Yan Ming shouted, "Use the pills, release everything." Yan Zio obeyed. He forced more energy through the damaged channel. The left wing returned as a violent, unstable shape of fire. The Dragon Eagle aura rose again. Red light filled the arena. Yan Zio brought both hands together. 9 Dragonfire pillars. The air above the field twisted. 9 columns of flame descended. The first struck near Kai Ren. Stone exploded. The second blocked his left root. The third landed behind him. Yan Zio controlled the pillars from above, closing every escape path. Kai Ren used Cloud Step between the first 2. A third pillar changed direction and caught his leg. The flame burned through fur. Kai Ren fell. He rolled as the 4th pillar struck. The 5th came before he regained his feet. Kai Ren used Void Mist. For 2 breaths, his body became black vapor. The flame passed through. The audience saw the strange transformation, but did not understand it belonged to a hidden second spirit. They believed the monkey possessed a shadow technique. Kai Ren reformed behind a broken section of arena. The 6th pillar shattered the stone. Fragments struck his face. The 7th and 8th descended together. Kai Ren extended the staff from beneath Yan Zio's trapped foot. The weapon returned to his hand. He drove it into the ground and used the impact to launch himself between the 2 pillars. The heat burned his sides. The 9th pillar waited above him. Yan Zio smiled. He dropped it directly onto Kai Ren's path. Kai Ren created a golden sphere in his left hand and a black sphere in his right. Twin eclipse. The golden sphere repelled spiritual fire. The black sphere pulled at its center. Kai Ren separated the pillar's energy for 1 instant. He passed through the opening. The 2 spheres destabilized. He threw them toward Yan Zio. The Dragon Eagle folded its wings into a shield. The golden and black spheres collided. The explosion filled the air. Yan Zio fell through the smoke but recovered before reaching the ground. His wing shield had cracked. Kai Ren landed badly. Both fighters were breathing hard. The arena floor had become a field of craters and flame. Kai Ren's clothes were burned. His shoulder continued bleeding. Yan Zio's left wing shook. The strengthening pills were damaging his soul palace. Neither moved for several breaths. Then Yan Zio laughed. "You are silver rank. Your soul force will empty first." Kai Ren knew he was correct. The 9-fold soul palace art made his energy dense, but the monkey's abilities consumed enormous amounts. Cloud Step, Heavenweight Field, Twin Eclipse, and the changing staff had drained most of it. He had enough for one final sequence. Yan Zio rose again. He gathered every remaining drop of strengthened energy into the Dragon Eagle. The spirit's body enlarged behind him. Its wings touched both sides of the barrier. A dragon-like head formed above Yan Zio's own. Scarlet Heaven Burial. The giant spirit dived. The pressure cracked the remaining arena before contact. Kai Ren planted the staff in front of him. He did not run. The crowd rose. Patriarch Kai Sheng shouted his name. Madame Huaying remained still, but her fingers tightened around the chair. Yan Zio came closer. Kai Ren opened sage eyes to the limit. Every spiritual root became painfully bright. The unstable left wing, the damaged back channel, the pills gathered around the heart. The connection between Yan Zio and the dragon eagle ran through one central point beneath the chest. Kai Ren waited. The giant claws opened. He activated heavenweight field, not around Yan Zio, around the right wing only. The sudden imbalance pulled the dive sideways. Yan Zio corrected using the damaged left wing. The swollen channel tore wider. Kai Ren used cloud step, one cloud, then a second in the opposite direction. He crossed beneath the right claw. The left claw struck his side. Kai Ren felt ribs break. He continued. The black staff extended upward. Yan Zio caught it with both hands. Kai Ren reduced its weight. The dragon eagle pulled too hard. The staff slipped through the claws. Kai Ren shortened it again, stepped onto the moving weapon, and used it as a platform. Rose directly beneath Yan Zio's chest. Mountain palm struck the central connection point. The first impact cracked the dragon eagle image. Yan Zio coughed blood. Kai Ren used the last of wild mimicry to copy the twisting motion Yan Zio used during his dives. He rotated around the body, avoided a desperate claw, and placed his second palm against the damaged left channel. Mountain palm released again. The left wing exploded into fire. Yan Zio lost flight. Both fighters fell. Kai Ren grabbed the staff. He extended it toward the ground. The weapon struck first and bent. The rebound slowed Kai Ren's fall. Yan Zio crashed into the arena without protection. The impact created a final crater. Dust and flame covered everything. Kai Ren landed on one knee at the crater's edge. His monkey transformation flickered. Yan Zio lay at the center. The scarlet dragon eagle spirit tried to reform. Yan Zio pushed one hand against the stone. He rose halfway. Kai Ren stepped into the crater. Every movement hurt. Yan Zio looked up. You still have strength. Enough. Yan Zio attacked from his knees. One scaled claw moved toward Kai Ren's heart. Kai Ren turned sideways. The claw cut his chest. Kai Ren caught the wrist. He placed the end of the staff against Yan Zio's shoulder. The weapon increased in weight. Yan Zio's arm dropped. Kai Ren swept the leg. Yan Zio fell. The staff extended across his chest and pinned him to the crater floor. Yan Zio tried to lift it. The strengthening pills failed. His spirit transformation vanished. His arms collapsed. The judge entered the crater. He counted. Yan Zio did not rise. The final count echoed through the silent arena. Kai Ren wins. For one breath, Radiant City remained completely still. Then the martial field erupted. The Stonecrest family had won 50 million from the first match, 100 million from the second, and 300 million from the third. Kai Ren's public bets multiplied the fortune further. The declining Stonecrest family became one of the wealthiest aristocratic clans in the Southern District overnight. The Golden Cauldron Association's influence rose with them. The Scarlet Crown clan lost money, property, reputation, and the engagement before the entire city. Master Kaio Fen watched from the outer stands, unable to speak. Vice Headmaster Song looked at Kai Ren with pride and concern. Elder Yan Ming remained seated as though the strength had left his body. The authority he once held inside his clan had been destroyed by 3 wagers. Kai Ren released the monkey transformation. The pale gold celestial tattoos faded. The staff shrank and returned to his soul palace. He climbed from the crater slowly. Patriarch Kai Sheng entered the field with Kai Ren's father and Madame Hua Yang. Kai Ren's father looked at the blood and burns covering his son. You said you would win. I did. You did not say you would nearly die. I was busy. Madame Hua Ying gave him a 9-breath recovery pill. Swallow before making another joke. Kai Ren obeyed. The medicine cooled the pain in his chest and stopped the bleeding. Scarlet Crown betting officials delivered the contracts and payment records under the eyes of Golden Cauldron guards. The engagement agreement was brought into the arena. Lin Yue was not present, but her clan representative tore the document before every family in attendance. The tournament challenge was finished. Kai Ren had kept the promise made in the Institute courtyard. He had defeated all 3 Scarlet Crown representatives. He had taken the enemy clan's wealth through its own betting hall. He had revealed only the Azure Stone Monkey. The Voidshade Panther remained hidden. That evening, the Stonecrest family returned to its town beneath a procession of guarded carriages. The tournament winnings arrived in locked chests. The clan reopened its closed training hall. Patriarch Kai Sheng announced that every child in the family, including those from poor branches, would receive basic cultivation resources. Kai Ren insisted that laborers and guards receive overdue wages. He gave his father the repaired mist turtle cloak. He placed the moonsteel bracelets around his mother's and sister's wrists. He distributed meridian cleansing pills among the younger generation. No one in the town called him a useless Grey Palace child again. Duan Wei received the news in his distant village while training with the divine Abyss Tiger. Bo Chen heard it from a merchant caravan and shouted so loudly that his scarlet wind leopard fled into the forest. Lin Yue learned of the victory after leaving the Thunder Sanctuary. The dissolved engagement seal was waiting for her at the gate. Sulayan read the tournament report inside the governor's library. She smiled when she reached the description of the monkey slapping Yan Zhen across the arena. Kai Ren spent the final night of the family celebration on the roof above his parents' home. Radiant City glowed in the distance. The people he had failed in his first life were still alive. Duanwei and Bochen possessed cultivation methods and spirits capable of changing their futures. Lin Yue's frozen meridians were healing. Su Lion had begun mastering inscriptions years earlier than before. The Stonecrest family was no longer poor enough to be crushed by one noble clan's pressure. The Golden Cauldron Association stood behind them. The Voidshade Panther occupied the first chamber of Kai Ren's Soul Palace. The Azure Stone Monkey, carrying the dormant bloodline of Sun Wukong, occupied the second. Kai Ren had kept the teacher bet. He had survived the ancient Moonfall ruins. He had gained the hidden assassin spirit. He had returned home and protected the family that once underestimated him. He had purchased the 10-spirit evolution vessel. He had refined divine growth spirits for the people he trusted. He had won the younger generation tournament. For the first time since opening his eyes in the past, Kai Ren allowed himself to stop planning. He listened to his parents speaking below. He listened to his younger sister laugh. He listened to the town that had once existed only in his memories. Then the weakest student in Silvermoon Institute smiled. For one peaceful night, victory was enough.